Oh, got 2 more rewards. All right. What's up? Kicking the live off. Here we go again. All right. Well, welcome in. Welcome back. Welcome to. Welcome through the kingdom of the ape. The apostate ape. That's me. And this is the channel where you can watch an undereducated hick from Alabama perform an intellectual takedown of the Christian faith, doctrine, and logic for your entertainment. But also, hopefully, most importantly, to combat the ridiculous rise of this ridiculous Christian smashonism, which is basically a bunch of Christians with a bunch of power and a bunch of money who are openly and publicly calling to bring back institutions like slavery and manifesting destiny, which means conquering people. Basically, evil shit. They think they have a divine right to inflict atrocities on other human beings, which is not true. And that's why we're here. We are being the voice, the sweet southern voice, in the ears of those who would listen. So hopefully people will watch this and, join the right side of history and move away from this ridiculous religions that justify the unjust, like slavery. Anyway, welcome in, welcome back. Our best friend on this channel is Dr. Joshua Bowen, and he is where I learned most of my combat knowledge against the apologetics, because he writes awesome pieces of literature like the Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament, volumes 1 and 2. But he gives you scholarly knowledge that's specifically geared toward combating apologetics, which is what we do here. You can start a whole channel just based on his books and have a long career, assuming there was somebody to argue with. So that's pretty awesome. But anyway, he also teaches ancient languages like Biblical Hebrew, teach you to speak it and read it. So check him out at digitalhammurabi.com is his website. All his information's on there. Also, don't forget that this October, on the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th, the Rocket City Reason Conference is going down, man. It's going down in Huntsville, Alabama, and it is going to be the greatest deconstruction conference that the world has ever seen. I don't even think I'm shitting you there, for real. Like, it's going to be fucking awesome. Like, I mean, the absolute biggest names in this community are going to be there, and it is going to be awesome. And I mean big, big names. You name them, they'll be there. So check it out. Come hang out with us if you can. If you like to travel, if you can make it, if you can swing it, if you got the time, then come on through. It's going to be awesome. And you can get your tickets for that at rocketcityreason.com. Thank you for the heart thing, Bradley. Appreciate that. All right, and as usual, if you are watching this as a replay on my YouTube channel, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, all that good stuff. Helps out there. Good morning, best friend Durango Soul. What is up, big homie? What is up, y'all? Guys and girls and non-binaries, what is going on, everybody? Happy Pride Month. It's still the Pride Month. We still got celebrating to do. We got a whole rest of the month. Shit. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, I believe that's all the pleasantries out of the way there. That's right. We do got a class this afternoon. I'm going to have to take a nap. I think I was supposed to be at the debutante ball tonight, actually. Wasn't that tonight? I might have to. I can't remember shit. Anyway. Only Democrats. No, that's Christians. Christians are for slavery. 100%. And they definitely want to bring it back. Maybe not all of them, but Christianity itself is perfectly fine with it. Anyway, this might be a little too direct for great engagement. But we'll give it a shot for a minute here. Live has been kicking for 5 whole minutes. It's almost 50 people that came through. I feel like that's low. Maybe not though. It's hard to tell. Anyway, let's see here. Okay. Hey, Pink Cloud. Hello?
How's it going?
Hey, what's up, man?
So I'm an atheist too. Sorry, say ahead. Go ahead.
So I guess you didn't come to approve the prompt wrong.
So I'm an atheist too, but like I'm curious where you get the idea that Christianity is pro-slavery. I haven't heard that before.
Oh, I get it from the Bible. I'll have to drop you back though. Ask in the comments or hang around and listen. You'll hear undoubtedly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just saving the stage for opposition there, man. But yeah, you get it from the Bible. It's definitely in the Bible. Well, he's an atheist, so. Or he said he was an atheist. So. Not sure I would quite demand that of him. Anyway, perhaps, just perhaps, Christians are for slavery 100%. Well, again, Christianity is. Maybe some Christians aren't, but Christians, if you're a Christian and you're against slavery, that's just because you're a decent human being, not because Christianity told you to be. That's why it says Christianity is 100% pro-slavery, not Christians are 100% pro-slavery. Yeah. Anyway, we'll where are we at here? 7 minutes. We'll give it a few minutes and we'll switch off to a normal, maybe less contentious back. Actually, wait a minute. We've got another one that's the same thing anyway. Get to, there we go. James, come on up. I would be happy to prove it to you. Or just hang around and listen. If somebody comes up, you'll undoubtedly hear the proof. Because the proof is in the pudding. The vanilla pudding of the Bible. Which is not vanilla. It's red. As in blood red. Anyway, let's see. Hey, Big Ben, are you there? Hello? Big Ben, are you there? I don't think Big Ben knows he's here. Oops. Humility, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's up, man? You want to prove the prompt wrong?
Yeah, I want to prove it wrong.
Cool,
So
man. Go ahead.
on the basis that if you're going to say that the law mandated or instituted slavery, I'm going to tell you that the law was a reaction to things that was already taking place. So the people themselves were already keeping slaves, and God's law was a reaction to it.
Well,
And
they were
then
murdering people and committing adultery too. Why didn't he let them do that?
why didn't he let them do that?
Yeah, they were already doing it. They could have just controlled it, right?
Well, would have, could have, and all that stuff really don't matter, right?
It really don't. You're right.
So the fact that you're going to say that the law started it, and that's not true. People were doing it before the law. Period.
That doesn't make a difference. God still permitted it. That's condoning it by definition.
No.
He definitely didn't end it. God says the law was good
sympathetic
and
to
right
your
and
nature.
just and perfect. But he says it's perfect and good in his sight. All the law, the entire law is just.
Okay, it's perspective based. It's perfect in his eyes. Okay, I'll give
Well,
him
it's
that.
what God says, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with him.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, if he allows slavery, then slavery is good and just in his eyes, isn't it?
sure. Yeah, but he didn't start it. People were already doing it.
Doesn't matter.
No.
He still allowed it. If he doesn't
Okay.
like it, he says don't do it. He doesn't let people do things he doesn't like.
Like what?
Like
What does he
anything.
stop people from doing? What does he stop people from doing?
Eating shellfish,
He didn't. He don't. You
wearing
can
mixed
still eat shellfish.
fabrics.
You can still do it.
You can, but
Yeah.
you'll get burned forever for it.
No, that's not true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, God not gonna
Well,
say
God
to
didn't
help.
like it, and He said don't do it.
Yeah, he said it was like a prescription for a better life. That's what it was. It wasn't that I'm gonna kill you
So
for eating shellfish.
well, I mean,
And
whatever. He
then if
says
you
do
say
it.
that, the New Testament, Paul was saying, be obedient to your slave masters and all that stuff. He was only talking to something that already existed. It ain't that the Christians went around.
I know, but strangely enough, nobody in the Bible, including God or Jesus, ever says, "Hey, maybe by the way, don't own a slave or beat them." It's almost like they're endorsing doing that.
No, he was kind of just making. He was being sensitive to your tendencies anyway. That's all.
And
God
how
just
come He
good enough to know.
forbids debt slavery? How come He forbid debt slavery and said you can own chattel slaves?
He didn't say that.
Yes, He did.
He said you can own chattel slave, but not like indentured servants.
Yeah, He forbids
Go on.
indentured servitude. He says you cannot do that. But He says what you can do is make foreigners into chattel slaves.
Look. I'm gonna tell you something else. I'm less concerned with what God said than what the most recent slave people did, who was white people. So I got more heat smoke for
Yeah,
white
and they were
people than I do
Christians
for
who
God.
justified it with the Bible.
No, not all. Also, you think there were no Christian? You think all slave owners were Christians? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah.
You think only Christians drank from the whites only fountains, right?
Yeah,
Everybody who was an atheist, that's what you think?
probably.
Yeah,
This
you
is
have no
what
proof in that. You're wrong.
Listen. Yeah, this is what Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy, said in public address. He said, "Let the gentleman
Let the
go to
gentleman go
Revelation
to
to learn the
Revelation.
decree of God. Let him go to the Bible. I said slavery was sanctioned in the Bible, authorized, regulated, and recognized from Genesis to Revelation. Slavery existed then in the earliest ages and among the chosen people of God. And in Revelation, we are told that it will exist till the end of time shall come. You shall find it in the Old Testament and the New Testament, in the prophecies, the Psalms, the epistles of Paul. You find it recognized and sanctioned everywhere."
He could have gone to
That was a
any
Chri-
source he could have gone to any
that was a
source to
Christian.
justify it. He could have gone anywhere to justify that. He just chose the
It was
Bible.
a Christian. Where does a Christian go besides the Bible to justify things?
A lot of places he could have gone, but that's
No,
where
they
that's
don't. They go to the
culturally where
Bible. That's it. And
that's
most
where
of
his,
them don't even go to that. They just make up
that's
what
where
they
his
think it
culture
says.
drove him.
Yeah,
So
the
you,
Bible, Christian culture.
okay, let's check this out. So you said that slavery pre-exists the Bible.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, I
Okay,
didn't say it
so
didn't. I am
okay,
real.
so
I don't have to lie here. You do.
and what? No, I don't. I don't have to. I'm telling you the truth. It predates the Bible. So
So the
where's your
truth
smoke for
is that
that?
as a Christian, you cannot tell me slavery's bad from a Christian standpoint. It's all good in the eyes of God.
I
That's
still
the
have
fact
my
of the
own
matter.
opinions. I still
Well,
got a lot of
sure.
opinion. The Bible don't tell me to drink black coffee, but I drink black coffee. It don't say thou shalt not or thou shalt drink it, but that's just I do whatever I want. I have opinions
It
about
says
everything I
you
want
shall
to.
stone disobedient children to death. Do you do that?
Not yet.
You defy God, man. Not yet. Are you going to later?
You're a clown, man.
I'm a clown. I bet. Oh, spring off. Big Bang was here a second. Must have been an accident. I don't know. I'm not sure what he was. So I don't know if that was a defense or not. Let's see here. I think we had Mike, then a period person, and then Teresa. Hey, Hacker, you there?
Hey, how's it going? Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, buddy. You want to approve the
Morning.
pop tong, please?
So, yeah, I was listening to the previous person you were speaking to. It was kind of an interesting dialogue. Um, I'm agnostic, but think when you guys kind of like flatten out the Bible and kind of just take it literally, I know that Christians do that. And the other guy was right about some things, but it doesn't mean the Bible's complex and it's got a lot of contradictory stuff to begin with. So
Yeah,
a lot of the things that we're talking about, it's it's literature. It's not a historical document directly. It's kind of like
it's a law
Lord of the
code.
Rings. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings. It's got real
It's
history
a
of some
law
sort
code.
in it. But what do you mean? Sorry,
It's a law code.
a law
It's a
code?
Near
What do you
Eastern
mean?
law code. Yeah, I mean it's a law code. It has laws written in it.
Right,
It's not just a book
right.
like the Lord of the Rings. People, this is authoritative religious document here.
It's not. Well, I'm not saying it's a one for one match. I'm using an analogy.
Oh,
The
I got you.
so
Well,
so
do you want to
taking
prove it
like
wrong
taking
or?
so you're talking about condoning slavery, but it
Yeah,
it it has history at that time. A lot of it has to do with damage control, and the Bible is also conflicting. It leaves a lot of it for us to decide, and it shouldn't be read. When I'm referring to Lord of the Rings, it shouldn't be read as like an exact thing. Everything is exactly um,
you're
written
not
in
a Christian though,
stone.
are you, Mike?
No, I'm not. I was formerly a
Okay,
Christian. I was formerly Roman Catholic.
I got you. Well, we're gonna move on and talk to some Christians, man. I appreciate it though. We're looking for somebody to actually try to prove us wrong here. New guest, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, hey. So please, for the love of all things sacred, prove the prompt wrong.
Um, so really quick, just before I argue a little bit with you on this, I do want to say I'm an ex-Christian. I'm no longer Christian, y'all. But, however, when I was Christian and I read the Bible, I did not finish the Bible completely, but the parts of the Bible I did read, I read up to, I can't remember. I got past Genesis and a few of the other chapters, books or whatever, but
Right.
um doesn't he free the Israelites and stuff and tell them that he's going to bring them to the promised land? I want to know
Yeah,
what
he
parts of
brings
the
them out of slavery because they're his slaves.
Okay,
And he
so
tells them they can own slaves. And he also puts them into slavery again 2 other times.
are you saying that God himself is enslaving people or that he supports slavery as a whole
It's
and is
both.
enslaving people?
Both.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Also, before you kick
Yeah,
me,
no problem.
all y'all who do believe in God and stuff, if God truly loves us, why would he let the African Americans?
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I didn't know where you were going out of. I was afraid you were going to say something crazy. All right, Teresa, Matt, E-Money, GC, Wilbert. Okay. I don't know who's still here, but the queue's pretty full right now, so. All right, so Matt is next, GC, and Wilbert. Hey, Matt, are you there?
Yeah, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man? So please, for the love of all things sacred, prove my prompt wrong.
Okay, well, I mean, I gotta say that it just seems like a rage bait prompt, and I'd like to ask for more context. Like, what scriptures are you getting your beliefs from that Christianity glorifies and condones slavery and justice? Because I've heard you speak about the Old Testament, and that's not Christianity. The Old Testament is not Christianity. The New Testament is Christianity, and everything that Christ is founded upon is written in the New Testament. There is nothing in there that condones slavery or injustice or anything. The entire gospel of Jesus Christ preaches love and caring for others. I mean, like, yeah, you see what I'm saying? So where's the
Yeah,
scripture?
yeah.
Where's some
So
scripture that you
Jesus,
are basing your belief on?
the entire Bible, but Jesus says he came to fulfill the law and the prophets. So the Old Testament is naturally included in the New Testament. So I don't know where you're getting from that it just don't mean anything or something, if that's what you meant. But
Well,
anyway, I disagree
so
about Jesus.
how did Jesus fulfill the law of the prophets? Can you tell me that?
He didn't. It was just his word.
He didn't. Oh, well, then you're uneducated because Jesus fulfilled over 300 prophecies in the Old Testament. You're
He
just
didn't. He doesn't fulfill a single one in the context.
you're straight up uneducated, bro. You gotta do some education.
Hey, I'm not. And if you got some time, we'll sit here and go through it, and we'll see who's
Hell
right
yeah,
and who's
hell
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the first one of the first prophecies he fulfilled was about him being hung on the cross. If you look in Psalms 22 and you read Psalms
It's
22,
not a prophecy, and it's not about being hung on a cross. Never says that once. But hold on, before we move along, let's get to Jesus and slavery. How about that?
Jesus and slavery. You're a fucking nut job, bro. You're a fucking nut job.
And you're a typical
We're the
Christian
people.
who can't handle any fucking normal grown up conversation.
Well,
So
how was
can
this
you-
grown up conversation when I
Can
asked
you
you?
calm your ass down and actually talk like a grown up?
Yes, sir. Give me context.
All
Give
right,
me
good.
a scripture. Give me a scripture that proves what you're saying.
All right,
Give me a
Jesus
scripture.
says that slave who knew what his master wanted but did not prepare himself or do what was wanted will receive a severe beating. But the one who did not know and did what deserved a beating will receive a light beating. That's weird.
So
Jesus is talking about how hard you beat slaves right there. That's
yeah,
weird.
perfect. So that's called a parable. Do you know what a parable is?
Yeah, I know that.
Do you know what a parable
I
is?
do know what a parable is. Yeah.
Well, then you're wrong because you don't even understand the context of what he's saying.
So Jesus didn't use a slave to compare his parable to say how hard you should beat a slave.
Buddy, look, okay, so the parable means what the parable means is that the Christian who knows that Jesus came and denies him still will be punished harder than the people that are on the other side of the globe and never knew about Jesus. That's what that means. It doesn't mean anything to do with slaves, bro. It means that,
That means you're going to get a
God-
severe beating like a slave, doesn't it? Yeah.
No, you're just a fucking retard, bro. Everyone on this channel, listen, this guy's a fucking moron, bro.
All
Everyone.
right. Well, I got to kick you now
Moron.
because you are slurring like a motherfucking child, and TikTok will make me kick you because you're the typical Christian who can't handle anything in a mature fashion. So you just break down and holler and call names and slurs at that, which just goes to show you exactly what this channel is for, and it's exposing Christian belief and behavior, just like that loser right there. So anyway, we did not get anywhere as he was not mature enough to keep the conversation going. All right, so GC was next, I think. Hey, GC, you there? Hello? GC? I don't think GC is here on purpose. Let's keep it moving. Wilbert. Your channel is about hate and evil, Jesse. Yes, I know that. It's about Christian hate and evil. That's exactly what it's about. I agree. Thank you for pointing out the obvious. Oh, man. That was funny. All right, who was next here? Molly, stay focused, and Zane, I think. Hey, Molly, are you there? Molly is not there. Bradley, thank you, buddy. Let's see. What does that say, Zane?
Hello, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. So please, for the love of all things sacred, prove my prompt wrong.
Sure. So, one of the first verses that I actually want to bring to your attention is in the Old Testament. I also have one for the New Testament. The Old Testament is going to be Exodus 21:16, King James Version. It says, "And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." So that's one direct verse. And then for the New Testament, 1 Timothy 1 verse 9 says, "Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for man-stealers, for liars, for perjured people, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine." This is literally saying man-stealers right there. Same thing for the first verse. And in
I
this
know what it
verse
says.
directly.
Do you know what a man-stealer is?
In that specific one, it was talking about people who were selling and selling
Yes,
people.
people who
and
were
stealing them.
kidnapping slaves to sell them, right?
Yes, the same, but also in Exodus,
Exactly. So
where it
that's
talks
not what
about.
you think it is.
No, it's the same thing because in
No,
Exodus
it's not
twenty-one
saying you can't
sixteen.
own a slave. It's saying you can't steal someone and make him a slave. This is like saying like you can legally own a car, but you can't
Okay.
steal someone else's car. That's what that's
Well,
about.
in Exodus
Because right before that,
21:16.
in Exodus 21, it says when you buy a male Hebrew slave, so you can buy a male Hebrew slave, and it says when a man sells his daughter as a slave, so you can sell your daughter as a slave.
But that was in the context of
That
people doing it. A little bit after that, in Exodus 21:16, it says, "And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his
I
hand,
know that's if
he
you
shall
steal
surely be put to
them,
death."
right? That's theft.
If you read the whole verse in its context, he that stealeth a man, aka the act of slavery, and selleth him, or if he be found
That
in
doesn't
his
say the
hand.
act of slavery. This says you can sell your daughter as a slave. You can buy someone's daughter as a slave. You can buy a male Hebrew as a slave, but you have to turn him loose after 6 years, or you can trick him into staying by piercing his ear, and then he becomes your slave for life.
And read that verse to me.
Verse 16 is just saying you cannot steal a man and make him a slave. You have to acquire slaves through legal means.
Okay, so then if we start there, when you're saying acquire a slave through legal means, if we also go down to 1 Corinthians 7:21, it says, "And that called being, I'm sorry, art thou called being a servant? Care not for it, but if thou mayest be free, use it rather." So even these three verses that talk about slavery, Exodus 21:16, even if you
Yeah, but none
emphasize the
of them
part
say
that
you can't
says
have slaves. That's not what any of those mean.
Exodus 21:16, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. This right
I
here is
know that's
saying,
talking about stealing people. It's not talking about acquiring them through legal means. You have
it
to
says
purchase a slave. You cannot steal
or,
someone and make them a slave.
sir, it says or. So while the first part of it was referencing
I
stealing
know
a
what it
slave,
says.
the or is in reference to someone who has taken someone and is found in his hand. And again, 1 Corinthians
Taking
7:21,
someone else's slave. The 10th commandment says, "Do not covet your neighbor's slave." It does
it
not
says
say,
do
"Do
not
not own a
covet.
slave." It says, "Do your neighbor's slave."
Okay, I want you to read that exactly from the Bible where it says slave.
Covet your. It's in the 10th commandment. You know that,
Read
right?
it. Go to the Deuteronomy, which is it in, and read it to me. It does not say slave.
Yes, it does.
Read it.
It's in Exodus. Oh well.
In Deuteronomy, when the Ten Commandments are given, it says, "Do not covet your neighbor's wife," I believe, or "Do not
It
covet
says
something
it
that is
says
your
don't covet
neighbor's."
several things: your neighbor's wife, your neighbor's property, your neighbor's oxen, or your
Right.
neighbor's slave.
And it was boiled down to "do not covet." But regardless, if you say the first
Don't
part of
covet a
Exodus
slave.
21, if you say Exodus 21 is in reference to a man stealing a
Wait a minute.
slave,
Why are you disregarding 14 other verses because 16 says don't steal a man?
I'm sorry?
You're disregarding all the verses that say you can own a slave and you can buy a slave and you can take slaves in war by one verse that says you can't steal a man.
No, I gave three different verses, examples of Jesus, God, and Moses
Okay, well,
not
hold
condoning
on.
it
So when it says you can own a slave, you can acquire slaves,
through
you're
legal means,
saying
as
the
you said
verse you
yourself.
read renders that one useless. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when it's talk about stealing it.
Oh, okay.
Right here it says, "And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or
I
if he
know,
be
that's what
found
I've been
in
trying
his
to tell
hand."
you. You can't steal someone, but you can acquire them through purchasing them, like it says over and over again.
So now here we go. So if you're saying that if your whole prompt is Christianity 100% glorifies and condones slavery and injustice, but all throughout the Bible it does not condone that, and it says if you do have a
It
slave, if you
does.
do
It
have
does
a
not
servant,
once say
you
you
treat
can't
them.
own a slave.
Okay, but what did you even say earlier? How long were they allowed to have a slave? What did they have to do when the slave was free? They had to
If
give them
it's
money,
if it's
land.
a male Hebrew slave, you have to turn them loose in the 7th year unless you pierce their ear, and then they have to serve you for life.
Show me that verse.
It's verse 6 in Exodus 21. And then it says, when a man sells his daughter as a slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. So you do not have to turn females loose. You only have to turn loose a male Hebrew. After
Okay, so I
7
want you to
years,
read. I'm sorry, I don't
unless
have
you
my
have
Bible
given
next
him.
to me. Can you read Exodus 21:6? I don't have my Bible next to me.
Yeah, it says, then his master shall bring him before God. He shall be brought to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him for life.
And what was the verse before that or after that? Your choice.
Here, let's just read the whole thing.
Okay, go
It
ahead.
says, when you buy a male Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years. But in the seventh year, he shall go out a free person without debt. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. That means you don't have to release his wife and children. And
Oh,
it
well, that
says,
was
but
in
if
the
the slave
case of a wife being
declares,
given.
yeah, and it says, but if a slave declares, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out a free person, then his master shall bring him before God. He shall be brought to the door of the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him for life.
Oh, well, the verse that you just gave is talking about voluntarily staying. In the context that you were using it, you were
Yeah,
saying
I
in
know
case of,
that, but the
but
wife
then
and
that's
the
not.
children aren't voluntarily staying.
Okay, but
It's
then here's the first thing, right?
wow.
The verse that you were saying and that you were quoting, you were saying, oh, well, if he pierces his ears, he has to stay. But that's in the case of if the person wants to stay and says, I love my
I know
master, I love
that.
my
If he
wife.
wants to stay with his wife and his
Mhm.
children, he has to pierce his ear and commit for life. That's if he wants to stay with his wife and his children, because the master
Yeah,
does not have to
and
turn
that's
them loose.
and that's in the case of the master giving him a wife, that a daughter that he already had, providing a
Yes,
wife
I
to
know.
him. So then in
Yeah,
that
because if
case,
your
your whole
slave has
basis
children,
has
that's more
failed.
slaves for you.
No, it's not more slaves.
Yes,
Actually, your entire
it
basis just
is.
collapsed.
If a slave has children, that is more slaves for you because you own them as slaves as well, right?
Okay, you're talking about the woman bearing children? In the case that it
Yeah,
was
it's
someone that
basic
he
math. Yeah.
gave to the slave. But if the man came in with the woman, it says
I
that
know.
he and his wife
If
leave.
the
If
master
the
gives
man
him a
leaves,
wife and she bears him sons or daughters, and her children, it says, her and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone.
because that was the property in
You're
which he owned.
splitting exactly. So you're breaking up the family unless he commits to serving you for life. He commits to being a chattel
That's
slave
not
for
breaking
life.
up a family because one, the
Yes, it
wife
is.
was
If
not
he
his
goes
to
out
begin with.
alone and the wife and the children stay, that's breaking up the family.
So okay. So here's what I'm gonna say, right? If you go into someone's house, right? Let's say you're out of state, you go into another man's house, right? And he was like, "Hey, you know what? While you're here, I appreciate you helping me out with my work. Here's a lady. Enjoy your free time with her. She's interested, whatever, right?" And you mess around with her. And then once you do your job, you leave. But let's say you had kids, okay? Or anything like that. That was not a woman that you owned, for one. Now, you can say, I want to stay with her, and you can stay there. But again, even throughout the Bible, it talks about if you do have a servant that works for you, treat them well because your judge is God. And I wish I had my Bible next to me. I can grab it, but I would have to like leave for a minute if you're fine with that. And I could give you exact verses. But even 1 Timothy 9:10, 1 Corinthians 7:21, like, and even the verse that you were giving talking about, well, a man's going, like the way that you worded it was very cherry picking, saying that a man
I
can
read
make
the
another
whole
man a slave.
passage.
Yeah,
I
but once
read
you read
it.
the whole
That's
passage, it
not cherry
changed the
picking. I
context
read
of
the
what you were
entire
saying.
thing.
But
It's
once you
not a
read the
cherry
entire
picking.
Can I
verse,
can I
Yeah,
ask a
please, Dr. Josh.
clarifying question? Sorry. So it sounded like in the beginning of this conversation, Guess that you were saying that there is no slavery because Exodus 21:16 says there can't be slavery. Are you changing that position now?
are you talking to me?
Yeah.
What I said was, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. That was condemning slavery and saying, if you steal a man and sell him, okay, or if you steal a man and he be found in your hand as a slave, he shall surely be put to death. Even when I gave 1 Corinthians 7:21, where it talks about if you can be free or acquire freedom as a slave, do that. 1 Timothy verse 9
Right.
talks
Just
about man
pause because
stealers.
I'm trying to get some clarification. So
Sure.
now it sounds like you're going back to that there isn't any slavery allowed in the law. Is that what
What
you're
I'm
saying?
saying, okay, no, I'll boil it down simply. So what I'm saying is slavery was in the Bible, but there were specific regimens around it. For example, the way that a slave or a servant had to be treated, the time in which they were able to be
So
captive,
you
not to
do
mention
agree then with the
illegal.
host that the law says you may own other people as property.
Through legal outlets and through
Right.
voluntary.
Precisely what the host was saying to you. So it sounds like you've just conceded your
Wow.
argument about Exodus
No, because the
21:16.
prompt says that it glorifies and condones. I do not agree with that. First of all, because again, there is specific. First of all, it has to be voluntary.
Okay,
It
so
has to be
baby
voluntary.
steps
No, we
here.
don't.
Baby steps
has to be
here.
voluntary.
You do agree that the Mosaic law sanctioned the social institution of slavery.
No.
So you don't think that the law said you may own other people as property?
So I'll repeat this again
Wow.
simply. Okay. Voluntary slavery.
So you do think that the law said you could own other people as property, or
I
you
believe
don't
in the
think that the
Old
law said you could
Testament.
own other people as property?
I believe in the Old Testament before Jesus came, they allowed slavery that was voluntary.
So you do think that the Old Testament law sanctioned the social institution of slavery?
Voluntary slavery.
Sanctioned the social institution of slavery.
I'm saying what I mean, voluntary slavery. Because if you're just
So
saying
yes,
slavery, then that
you
opens up a broader
agree.
door.
It's the means by which someone becomes a slave is somewhat a relevant question of the social institution.
You're breaking up. Is that just me?
No, I heard it. I didn't hear him either. You broke up there, Dr. Josh. Your signal dropped.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it just sounds like what you're saying is that the law in the Hebrew Bible said you can own other people as slaves. You just think that the only way that they could do that is if the person volunteered. Is that correct?
If it was consensual, if the person was fine with being a slave, and if they were able to be set free after a certain period and have no debt to their name, as well as many other parameters
Okay,
that were set around slavery.
sorry. When I say baby steps, because what I'm going to do now, and what Ape has been trying to do, is then I'm going to show you where that second part of what you're saying is incorrect. And I'm afraid that you're going to go back to, yeah, but it doesn't allow slavery. So I just need you to say, yes, it does sanction owning other people as property, but according to you, it has to be voluntary.
Yes, the Bible sanctions voluntary slavery with specific
Perfect.
outlets condoning
Perfect.
how a slave
So
or
can
servant
you
should be
explain
treated.
to me how in Exodus 21:4 that the child that is born to the male debt slave and the female chattel slave consented to lifetime chattel slavery?
Well, that's saying that they cannot be free. There were many outlets in which even a child who was a slave could be freed. So it's not saying that once they're born for the rest of their life, they're put into slavery. Again, there's
It's
parameters around
precisely
what
what it
slavery
says.
entailed.
It's precisely
for
what it
life.
says. In fact, you said it. The wife and the children belong to the master. Now, if the master says after 10 or 15 years, you know what, I'm feeling generous today, you can go free. Sure, that's true. But does the master have to do that? No.
And show me where it says that after a child is born as a slave, after they reach a certain age, because I don't have my Bible, but I believe it was in Exodus, the same chapter, or 23, where it says after a while, and once the child becomes mature, they can attain freedom. They can attain being
I
set
promise
free.
it doesn't say that. What you're thinking of is in Exodus 21:2-6 and in Deuteronomy 15:12-18,
There's one after
that
that.
the male debt slave, after serving for 6 years, has to be released in the seventh. Now, in Leviticus 25, that law is changed, and now everyone is freed at the year of Jubilee, which is every 50th year. But that's only Israelites. That's not foreigners. So which one do you think you're talking about?
No, I believe it's a completely separate one, but thank you for bringing those up as well. And again, going back to everything that I was saying, I have said that in the Bible there was slavery, but A, must be voluntary, and B, there's parameters around it in which how they must be treated, first of all. Even in the New Testament and Old Testament, it talks about treat your slaves well, for if you beat them or do things that are not fair to them, you will be judged by God.
Well, it
And
doesn't say that. No,
it does,
it
even in the
doesn't.
New Testament.
Okay,
I'm going to
I
the
tell you
exact
what,
one.
Instead of you just saying it says X, why don't you read it to us?
Okay, would you guys mind waiting so I could grab my Bible?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, bet. I'll be right back. Hold up.
Bet. Whew. She's gonna be real upset when she finds out none of this is voluntary.
This is terrifying to me.
Well, technically, I guess Exodus 21 would kind of. Well, no, I guess it can't be. I don't know. That's kind of weird to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you consent under duress. Those two things seem contradictory, but
No, if you want to sell somebody, I don't think you get the. Hey, is it okay if I sell you to this other person? Would it be all right with you if I sold you, Mr. Slave? Wow. 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 I wonder if her Bible was far away.
Okay, I am back.
Yay.
Alrighty, now I have my Bible. Give me one moment.
Ready.
Okay. Let's go to Ephesians. Do you want Old Testament or New Testament?
dealer's choice.
All right. Okay.
I can't tell if you're looking through your Bible or fighting your way out of a sack right now.
Oh no, don't worry. I'm pulling it up. Don't worry.
You're probably looking for Ephesians 6:9.
Oh, that is a great one. I was actually going to Colossians 4:1, but I can go to Ephesians 6:9 first. Great.
Sorry, I
Ephesians
said it was
6:9.
dealer's choice. I was just trying to help. You go wherever you want.
Don't worry, I'll go to them both. So Ephesians 6:9, and ye masters do the same things unto them, forbearing, threatening, knowing that your master also is in heaven, neither is there respect of persons with him. Now I'm going to go to the one that I was originally going to, which is Colossians 4:1. One moment, almost there. Okay. Colossians 1. There we go. Masters, give unto your servants that which is just and equal, knowing that ye also have a master in heaven. Right there.
Sorry,
That's
where does
talking
it
about how
say you
masters
may
should
not hit
treat
them?
those. Sorry?
Where does it say you may not hit them?
Well, even the first one said, do not
It
threaten
says
your
stop threatening
slaves.
them.
Right? So
Yeah.
if threatening isn't even condoned, why do you think hitting? But okay, let me find one that says that.
Sorry, just to
Because
be
in
clear.
Exodus
Go ahead,
Exodus 21:20, when a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. That's in Exodus 21.
Say that one more time. Sorry, you broke up for me.
When a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. So that means you can beat your slave as long as they don't die in a 24-hour period.
Oh, and that
Anything
was
after
also
that's
in the
biblical.
Old Testament, correct?
Yeah.
Since we're going back to the Old Testament, I actually wanted to go back to what you were quoting earlier, Exodus
I
21.
thought you was talking about beating them. I thought you said it says you can't beat them.
I was talking about the treatment that you were giving a slave, but let me find
Well, this is trading them with a rod.
Exodus 21, 26, and 27, I believe it is. One moment. Let me go to it. I believe that is even
When you
talking about
say
beating
you
them.
believe is, can you just help me out here? Do you mean that you just Googled it?
No, I have it in my
Or you,
Bible. I actually study my Bible. So all of
you're,
these different, because actually what I do is I speak to a lot of people like y'all. A lot of people who try to deconstruct the
so
Bible
why
and
would,
do things
sorry,
like
just to
that.
be clear, like if you had it written down in the section of your Bible,
hmm
I don't know why you would say, I believe it is, right? You'd say, oh, I have it written
Because
here,
I like,
or yeah, it's, unless, to be fair, unless what you're saying is, I think that's why I wrote that there. Is that what you meant?
so how I have my Bible is it's a study Bible. In the beginning of my Bible, I have a bunch of verses that are just grouped together and written after each other, and it has and pertains to different things and categories above it.
Got it.
So that's why I said I believe.
I apologize. That makes sense. Go ahead.
Now, let me see.
Yeah, you're looking. The one says if you take an eye or tooth of a slave, you have to turn them loose.
Let me see. Um, oh, yeah, even that one. And if a man smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. And if he smite out his manservant's tooth or if his maidservant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake. So even here it's
And
talking
what do you
about
think that
what
means?
specific things that are done to the slaves or to the people that you own. If you go too far, they have to be set free. If you treat them
Ah,
bad, remember that
so what
God
does
is your
that mean
judgment.
if you go too far? What did you mean when you said that?
I mean, simply put, this one right here, Exodus 21, 26 through 27, which you guys mentioned before, Exodus 21, 20 through 21. Like, there's many parameters in the
No,
Bible
no,
that
no, no,
says
no. I
treat
want
your
you to
man.
focus on the reason. Why did you say if they go too far? What does that mean? If they go too far with what?
Sure. So with how they are treating them,
What does that
And what
mean?
treating them how?
treating them badly, going back to the verse that I read before, where, uh, which I believe was
So you're
Colossians, where
saying
it talks
beating
about,
them is good treatment, but if you go too far and take an eye or two, that's bad treatment.
say that again?
So if you beat them, that's treatment. If you take an eye or a tooth, that's bad treatment. That's too far, right?
Um, I'm not gonna lie, the only thing I heard was bad treatment, but I'm not saying that it's okay to beat another person or hurt another person. Again, Colossians, the verse that I read, talked about treating your slaves well, because if you don't,
Wait,
God is going to be your
sorry.
judgment.
I think this is so important, but I think this is so. Let me ask you a question. What do you think the Proverbs, like in chapter 13, what does it say about physically disciplining one's son? Do you remember?
And which verse or which book? I'm sorry, which chapter, I mean.
I think it's in chapter 13,
Chapter 13?
probably down in the 20s
All
somewhere.
right,
Proverbs.
let me go to it.
Let me pull it up.
So were you guys
Yeah, verse
previously
24.
Christians, or have you always been anti-Christian?
And that's a great question, but let's not go to it. Let's stay here.
No, I'm
So
just
those who
curious as to this
spare the
conversation.
rod, ma'am, those who spare the rod, this is Proverbs 13:24,
1324?
hate their children, but those who love them are diligent to discipline them. What do you think that means?
Oh, that's simple. That was quoted throughout the entirety of the Bible, even talking about reproving one's sin when you're doing sin. So when you are, let's say, even your friends, it says to tell them and reprove them when they are in their sin and when they are doing things that are pulling them away from God. So even here, you said 13:24, and he that spared the rod hated his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. The righteous eat it to satisfy the soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want. It's literally talking about making sure your child is going to live the best life they can, making sure they're not a slave to sin,
What
making
does
sure
spare the
that
rod mean?
How?
by
Yeah,
disciplining
how are
them, it
you
says it right
doing that?
there.
What does the verse say?
When you spare the rod,
Right.
that means
What are
you're
you
not
doing?
hitting them, right?
He that spareth his rod, it's talking about discipline. But he
I
that
know it's
loveth
talking
him
about
What,
beating
what
hates
them.
kind
the
of
It's saying you're
discipline.
discipline?
supposed to beat them if you love them.
Okay, but another
Right.
thing is, even if you say,
Wait,
okay,
just
you
don't
beat your
go somewhere.
child,
Just stay here, ma'am. This is important. So do the Proverbs advocate for using a wooden rod? This Hebrew word here is a shavet, right? It's like a wooden shepherd's rod to physically perform corporal punishment on one's children for discipline. Is that what it's advocating?
yes.
Okay, if that's the case, and the Bible is saying here in the Proverbs, you should be physically hitting your children with a wooden rod, your children, why would you balk at the idea that masters were supposed to perform corporal punishment on their slaves?
So you're saying if someone can hit their child, what makes me think that it's not okay to do to a slave? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Why would you think, oh my gosh, no, that's certainly they weren't allowed to like hit them for discipline.
So again, like I said earlier, there were means of which slaves were disciplined, but it all boils down to God saying, whatever you do to your slave,
Was one
remember
of
I will
them
judge
hitting
you.
them with a rod?
Yeah, but did God
Okay.
condone that? But
So
did God condone
that's
that?
what we're
God
saying.
did
Like
not condone
that's
that
the
or
point that we're
glorify
driving
that.
at. So
Colossians literally says
when
that.
Ape tells you, ma'am, when Ape tells you that the biblical texts say in the law and in the
You went out
prod
again.
would be
You went out again.
Yeah, you're breaking up, Josh.
so. Let me drop out and come again because I have like full bars.
Okay. But at the end of the day, even Colossians, Exodus, different verses that I've given, First Timothy, First Corinthians, it talks about do what you would want done unto you because God is the judge. So even at the end of
Yeah,
the
but
day,
it
if you
also
do beat your
says you
slave,
can
if you
beat
do
your
these
slaves
three
with a
things,
rod. And it also says slaves obey your masters with fear and trembling, even the cruel
and
ones.
reverence, it talks about fearing God. It's talking about revering who you are serving, who you are
Yeah,
in
but we're talking
subjection
about
to.
beating though. We're saying you can beat
Yeah,
them
but
as
even
long as
though
they don't
slave
die within a
masters,
day or two. Do you know how bad you can beat somebody before you put their life in jeopardy?
but again, God says that He is the judge of persons. So whatever I gave a verse where it talks about treating your slaves fairly and justly. I can go back to it
Yeah,
if y'all
but you're not.
forgot.
You're totally disregarding the verse that says you can beat them with a rod as long as they don't die within a 24-hour period. What do you
It
think
said
that means?
if you do
It
beat
says
your
when a
slave,
slave. Yes, it's saying you
if
can.
you
That's
do beat your
condoning it.
slave, it's not saying you should beat your slave. It says if you do beat your slave and your slave
Oh my
dies, this is the
goodness. So
punishment.
you're
If they
making
don't
it
die.
about whether you should do it or not.
Yeah.
So to you,
We
it's a big
have free
deal
will.
when
We
God
have free will to
says
make choices, but
you
we have
can do it
consequences
over
from
you
those
should do
things.
it.
So here's my thing, right? We have free
If
will.
this
So at
is
the end of the
bad, then
day,
why the
if
hell is
someone
God
could
allowing it? Just let me ask you that. I mean,
say it again.
why, if this is so bad, then why is God allowing people to beat their slaves if they want to do it? If you want to beat
At
them,
the end of
go
the
ahead. You
day,
got to keep
every
them alive,
single
right?
person within this world has free will, but that does not mean we have freedom from consequence. God is going to judge,
Oh my
and He is
God.
going to give equally to every person what they have done. It literally was read that in Colossians, where it said that there is no respect of persons with God. So remember what you do to your slaves and how you treat other people. Which I can go back to that if you forgot it. Let me go back to it for you.
I didn't forget it.
You didn't?
But again, God is allowing people to beat their slaves with a rod severely.
So then let me ask you
Right?
this. What would you rather He do?
I would rather him say, how about don't own slaves at all and definitely don't beat them if you do? How about that? Does that sound all
So you
right?
would rather,
Sound pretty
okay, so He
reasonable?
literally said multiple times that it has to be voluntary and there has to be a
No,
way
he
that we can get
doesn't.
out
He
of it.
never says it's voluntary once.
Exodus 21:16.
That's
First
if he
Timothy
wants
verse
to stay
9.
with his wife and his children, madam. That's not better. It's worse. It's evil as fuck. It made a bad situation 10 times worse. It's tricking them into being a slave for life.
No, 1 Timothy,
Well,
Colossians, many different verses where it talks about what God will do in response to that. So at the end of the day, if you're saying, okay, not to mention, right, let's say God even was like, okay, let's go with what you said that God should do, right? And say, no, you can't have slaves, whatever, right?
yeah.
No, through no outlets, through no voluntariness,
Yeah,
just none,
like he does
period,
in
right?
Leviticus 25. Yeah.
So then at that point, if someone does own a slave, even though God said not to, then what would you say? Why is God not stopping them? Why
Then
is
it
God
would
not
actually
saving
be
them?
a sin and they could punish
It's going
it,
to be a
because
slippery
then,
slope. It's already
like
a
the
sin.
United States couldn't found a country and say, hey, we can legalize slavery because our religion's okay with it. Like a pretty big consequence.
Say it again. It even what are you talking about? God literally says what he will do as a response to what they will do to their
So
slaves, not letting
if
them be
you
free.
go to war with someone and you capture their women and their children, did their women and their children consent to becoming your slaves?
No.
Okay, then it's not all voluntary, is it?
When you're conquering land, no. Of course not.
Yeah, God says you have to put all the males to the sword, but you can take the women and the children as slaves.
And which verse was that? For which book?
That's in Deuteronomy 20.
Deuteronomy 20. All right, let me go there. Deuteronomy 20 what?
20 through 27.
Say that one more time. 20, 27, you said?
Oh, wait, shit. No, wait. I'm in a totally wrong chapter.
14.
Yeah, sorry. 10 to 14.
10 to 14 of verse 20? Got it. Let me see.
Deuteronomy 20. 10.
Okay.
Says, when you draw near a town to fight against it, offer it terms of peace. If it accepts your terms of peace and surrenders to you, then all the people in it shall serve you at forced labor. So they all get to be your slaves if they surrender. So, but if it does not accept your terms of peace and makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when the Lord your God gives it into your hand, you shall put all its males to the sword. You may, however, take as your plunder the women, the children, the livestock, and everything else in the town, all its spoil. You may enjoy the spoil of your enemies, which the Lord your God has given you.
Okay, and I'm reading the context before that. One moment.
So the context before that. It's about the officers addressing the troops.
Yeah, I see that. Let me know.
You don't know what good that's going to do. You want to read right after that? Will that make you feel better?
Well, I mean, it's not about
It says,
making you
thus
feel
you
better.
should treat all the towns that are very far from you, which are not towns of these nations here. But as for the towns of these peoples that the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, you must not let anything that breathes remain alive. Indeed, you shall annihilate them, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, just as the Lord your God has commanded, so that they may teach you not to do these abhorrent things that they do for their gods, and thus sin against the Lord your God.
And when thou shalt besiege a city a long time, and making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for thou mayest eat of them, and thou shalt not cut them down, for the tree of life fulfilled is a man's life, to employ them on the siege, only the trees that thou knowest. Okay, so right here, even the context of this, because at first I didn't know where this was at in the context of this, right? This was speaking about, first of all, cities that were already warned multiple times for following demons and deities,
No, it's
sacrificing
not.
children.
It's explicitly
reference.
not. Ma'am,
It was in
you're
reference to these
just
cities
wrong. Ma'am,
in which,
you're
wait, hold on.
just wrong. No, listen.
No, I can
Read
wait.
the,
I can
no,
say this point and then you can say it as
ma'am,
well.
I want you to read verses 14 and 15 out loud.
You read it out loud. Now, what I'm saying is,
I want
this was
you
in
to read it
reference.
out loud so that
I
you can
want you
say,
to read
oh,
18.
I was wrong.
I want you to read 18. What I'm saying is, Yes, this did happen. And it happened after many warnings to many cities that were eating children and
Ma'am,
sacrificing
who
them
are
to
the
Baal.
cities in verses 10 to 14? Who
The
are the cities in
Israelites eat
verses
their
10 to
The
children.
14?
God
Hittites,
makes
the
them eat their
Amorites, the
kids.
Canaanites, which were notorious for
No,
eating and
no,
sacrificing children,
ma'am. That's
and the
verse
Perizzites,
15 and
the
following.
Hivites,
I
and the
want you to read,
Jebusites.
hey, I want you to
So
read, ma'am, I want you
I
to read
heard you
verses 10 to
already.
14. Well, you
I heard you.
clearly
My
didn't
point is,
understand it because you're
I
saying
understood
something that
it,
is
but now you're
completely
removing the
wrong.
fact
All
that
right,
these people,
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and
they were
mute you
eating children. So
because you're acting like a child. No.
we can have a discussion,
And I'm
but
going to
if you're
read it
gonna,
to you again. Yeah.
I
I'm
was
going to read it to
speaking.
you again. Yeah, I know.
Okay,
So
so they were eating
when you
children.
draw near to it,
They were
just please
sacrificing
don't
kids to demons.
I don't know
fight
why
the
she
mute
keeps
button,
saying they're
man.
eating
Please
children.
don't
Like
fight the mute
God makes
button.
them eat children.
Sacrifice.
Yeah. Please stop fighting the mute
God
button.
did not do that.
Okay. Stop fighting the
Just
Eating
mute
stop talking for
button.
a
children,
minute.
sacrificing kids.
Wait, you can say it in a second.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Mute button. I'm gonna
you broke up the Dr. Josh.
adult. Oh,
Oh man. Dr. Josh's signal's not recovered. Oh, by the way, it says, I will make the city a horror, a thing to be hissed at. Everyone who passes by it will horrified and will hiss because of all its disasters. And I, that's God, will make them eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and all shall eat the flesh of their neighbors in the siege. God made them eat their own children, man. That's probably what you were talking about, was the Israelites doing that. Who knows? Who knows, man? Who can say, oh my goodness, the the queue is slammed right now, though. All right, so Dr. Josh was fighting with his connection there. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, I'm just gonna go in the best order I sort of got here. Thought maybe she'd request back up, but all right, let's see. There's a bunch of people in the queue. I'm just going in order though. We're gonna let them. That's some of the comments right now. Hold on. Still going, still going. Hey, Goldfish, you there? Hello, Goldfish. Goldfish. 3, 2, 1. I don't think Goldfish knew he was here. All right, let's see. We're down to 1 out of like 10. All right. T-Rockin'. Cool name. Hey, T-Rockin', are you there? T-Rockin'. Hello? I was just laughing.
Oh my god, y'all.
Must have heard a funny limerick, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, the queue's open. We went from 10 people to 0 there. So if you are, well, I would think you might be a Christian there, but T-Rockin'. I don't know what T-Rockin's doing, but he's not serious. Anyway, if you would like to discuss the prompt here, then please do. I mean, please, for the love of all things sacred, you got to prove this wrong, man. You got to prove this wrong. Slavery was different back then. I don't know what that means. Anyway, if you would like to discuss the prompt, let's jump in here today. I'm having some good ones, I guess. Let's see. What does it say? Lawson. Hey, Lawson, you there?
How you doing, boss?
Doing good, man. Thanks for asking. Are you a Christian?
Yep, I am.
Awesome. So, please, for the love of all things sacred, prove my prompt wrong.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take kind of a different approach. I'm gonna ask you where you base your morality.
What?
So by what standard do you judge things to be moral or immoral?
No, just my opinion, man.
Okay, well, see, that's kind of a system defeater because I can say slavery and injustice is right. And because you don't have anything to base it
So
off
if I
of,
can't ground morality, that means Christianity doesn't condone slavery in the Bible?
no, that's not right.
Well, it's almost like it's irrelevant then. So let's just talk
No.
about slavery in the Bible.
No, because you don't have anything to base the claim that it's immoral.
Yeah, I
And
got the
if I
Bible.
just say, if I say it's moral,
Hey,
then
it doesn't matter if it's immoral. Does Christianity condone it or not? If you think it's fine, then that's fine. If you
The
think it's
apostolic
bad,
witness
then
doesn't
you think it's
strictly
bad. It has nothing to do with it. I'm talking about Christianity. It glorifies and condones it.
Right, but see, you have nothing to base that claim off of. You're just
What are you talking
assuming
about?
it's bad. You're just assuming
What do you
it's
mean
bad.
assuming it's bad? Is it bad when someone gets tied to a tree and have their back split open with a whip because they dropped an egg? Is that bad?
I think it is, but you don't have anything to base morality
Yeah,
off
I
of.
think it is too.
Well, why?
Why? Because they're having their fucking back whipped for an
No,
egg
you
drop.
just repeated what
That's
happened.
not-
You don't have any reason why it's bad.
All
Just
right,
because
so
you
do you
feel
want to
like
talk
it?
about the actual prompt or not? Look, you're just
No,
being
just because you feel
intellectually
like it.
dishonest if we can't just agree that slavery is fucking bad. This is ridiculous, man. It just
No,
makes y'all
I'm
look
just saying
horrible
you
when
have
y'all
no
do
basis
this.
for your claim.
That's so stupid, dude. It is so stupid.
I'm not arguing these things are good. I agree they're bad, but they're bad because of the
Okay,
dignity that
then
God
show
gives.
us that Christianity doesn't condone it. Stop talking about moral basis of epistemology. It's dumb. Nobody wants to hear drag
Epistemology?
racing, man. It's dishonest.
Epistemology?
You refuse to address the actual topic here. Now,
No, I'm just
as
saying
a
it doesn't
Christian,
matter.
Hey, listen.
If morality
As a
is
Christian,
subjective,
as a Christian, when God said slavery's okay, you're man enough to say, no, I disagree with that. God was wrong, right?
well, because we have to look at the apostolic witness of the church.
You can't say slavery's bad because of the Bible. That you can't take that position
Why?
because it doesn't say it's bad.
The metaphysics of God is the
If
argument
your
out of the
moral
code.
foundation is God, then you have to accept this as good and just, is what you have to do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. Show me in the Bible where it says slavery's bad. Where it says don't own slaves. Where it says don't beat slaves. Because I can show you where it says you can own slaves and you can beat them. And that's perfectly fine with God. I can show you where God says this is good and right and just and perfect.
Well,
So that-
again, I mean,
You want to go
you're
read it?
bound to prove why it's wrong, right?
Listen, you have to say it's right. You need to prove
No.
to me it's wrong because you and your religion and your basis for morality says it's perfectly fine.
That is completely made up. The app, okay.
No, it's
I will
not.
argue
Hey,
on this.
I'll tell you what. Let's just read it since you seem to be in complete morphosis here. Anyway, it says, as for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from the aliens residing with you and from their families who are with you, who have been born into your land, and they may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves, but as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the other with harshness. When a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod, and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives for a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. So according to God, you can beat a slave as long as he doesn't die in the first 24 hours. So that's
So God
cool, right?
can't
That's
speak
moral.
to the cultural practices of the time?
God permitted that. Your
Right.
basis of morality
No.
says you can do this.
That's called a civil law.
What?
It's different than a moral law.
God gave them a law that says you can beat this person with a rod as long as they don't die in a 24-hour period. And you're telling me that's not your God condoning slavery right there and saying you can beat them?
My point is that God can speak to different cultural contexts that things were written in. So that's why he talks about
What does God say his law is?
I mean, he says his law is many things.
Does he say his law is all perfect and all just and all good and right in his sight?
We would say that those are attributes of God, but it doesn't mean that it's
Does God say that?
attributes of his relationships to his creation.
Does God say that?
No, that's just
Hello?
basic Christian theology.
Does God himself say in the Bible that his law is just, perfect, good, and right in his sight?
I'd say yes, but ultimately Christ is a fulfillment of the law.
So
why-
God was mistaken when he said his laws were good and right in his sight.
No.
Okay. So
So you
when
do not
God says
understand that
through
Christ-
law that you can
No.
beat a person as long as they don't die within 24 hours, that is doing what is good and right in the sight of the Lord your God, according to God. So you can either call God a liar right now, or you can say your basis for morality thinks this is perfectly fine.
Hold on, because this is an argument used to argue that tattoos are bad and that we shouldn't wear mixed fibers, right?
Yeah.
So I would argue that through the completion of Christ, there are ceremonial laws that we don't have to hold to.
Doesn't say that anywhere.
Well, does Christ not claim that he's a fulfillment of the law?
No, he says the law will be fulfilled when heaven and earth pass away, not when he dies. He says not one dot or stroke of a pen will pass from the law until heaven and earth pass away. Matthew 5.
So Christ is not the fulfillment of the law.
What does it say? When does it say the law will be fulfilled according to Jesus?
I'm going to have to get out my sources, but it's chill.
It's in Matthew 5, verse 17 and 18. I'm going to have to get my Bible, but it's cool. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one dot or stroke of a letter will pass from the law. That's Jesus' words.
Yeah, so here in Matthew 5:17, do not think I've come to abolish the law of prophets. I've not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. So again, I made the claim that Christ is fulfilling the law. Is that a lie? Or do you just not know?
Do you think Jesus is lying here when he says not one dot or stroke of a pen is going to pass from the law until heaven and earth pass away?
No, I don't think so. But see,
Okay, well, Jesus
Christ-
is clearly
Christ
saying
summed up
that
the
the
law.
law will stand until heaven and earth pass away.
right. And Christ summed up the
Yeah.
law in love your God, love your neighbor. And
That's Levitic law, the same chapter I'm reading from.
that's just theology that you don't know.
What? You know that, right? The greatest command Jesus gave to love your neighbor as yourself, that's Levitic law, the same one that says you can own a slave.
Well, I don't think you understand.
So are you
That-
under that
that's
law
that
or not?
part.
Which one are you confused about your laws here?
No, the first
You seem real
ultimate great
confused.
commandment is to love your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and might. Second is to love your neighbor as yourself. That is a summary of
Which
the Ten
is
Commandments. Did you know that?
despicable, by the way.
Did you know that?
What?
That is a summary of the Ten Commandments.
Did you know that's Levitic law, literally?
Where is that? How is that?
It's not in
Levitic
the Ten Commandments. It's
law?
Levitic
Right,
law.
it's a summary of the Ten
Leviticus
Commandments.
19.
Do you not understand that?
Chapter 19, verse 18. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's commanding you who to love. It's like saying, I command you to love Hitler. It's ridiculous. You don't love Hitler, do you?
Do you not understand how that's a summary of the Ten Commandments? Because the first
It's
commandments
Levitic
talk
law.
about-
Do you understand
Whoa.
that?
Can you not interrupt me for 30 seconds?
It's Levitic law. Do you understand that?
The first part of the commandments talk about our relationship with God, which is why he summarizes love God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. The second
That's Deuteronomy. Yep.
talk about our relationship with humans. Do not covet, do not steal, honor your mother and father. That's the summary of that. So Christ is not abolishing the laws by proposing new commandments. He's summarizing them.
Right. He's using the old commandments, isn't he?
Right, but that doesn't mean we have to accept the
Yeah. So when
ceremonial
Jesus says
sacrificial
these are
laws.
the greatest two commands, or is he saying these are the only two commands?
No,
Okay.
because
So
we have
he's
to be
giving you a
obedient to
command from
God.
Leviticus, and he's saying this is the greatest command. It's from Leviticus 19, verse 18. And then a few chapters later, it says you can own slaves. It's permitted in the law.
But that is a ceremonial or civil law which we don't have to hold to.
It, why do you have to hold to Leviticus chapter 19, but not Leviticus chapter 25?
Because because Christ fulfilled it.
He fulfilled Leviticus 25, but not chapter 19.
Right, because the whole Bible is pointing to Christ. Okay.
Dude, that's the wildest shit I ever heard, man. That's wild. That's wild.
Well, I'm not that like Christ did that, but
Right.
because
So it's
the
just
whole Bible
weird.
is
You have to keep
the
a
whole-
random law in Leviticus 19, but the rest of it, that part got fulfilled though when heaven and earth passed away. But oh yeah, heaven and earth did pass away.
the Bible is a testament to Christ.
Right. Hey, has heaven and earth passed away yet?
I mean, I think there are many approaches to that question.
Do you think it's passed away or not?
No.
No. Well, according to Jesus, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter or stroke of a letter is going to pass from the law. That's the entire law, all of it. He even goes on to say, whoever keeps these commands and teaches others to do the same will be called great. So Jesus is saying the more commandments you keep, the better. He's not saying you only have to keep these
Your
moral
argument
ones
is
over
that-
here. That's not even a thing.
Your argument is that Christ fulfilled, Christ satisfied the requirements of Jewish canon law.
No, Jesus said, keep the law until heaven and earth passed
Right.
away. That's what
So
Jesus
Jesus
said.
is
Christians,
basically-
for some reasons, Christians have to read verse 18 is until I die, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law. But that's not what it says. It says until heaven and earth pass away. And if heaven and earth haven't passed away, then the law's still there
Again,
in
you're
its
ignorant.
entirety.
You're ignorant to the theology surrounding Christ fulfilling the law and the law.
You're
being
just
fulfilled
denying
in
his
Christ.
words then. You're just denying his words.
Okay.
Just admit it.
No, it's fine. I understand you're not a theology guy, but it's fine.
I'm just reading the book, and it's what Jesus says himself. I don't know why it's not clear. Like, I can read this with a basic reading comprehension from like the 4th grade and understand what Jesus is saying very clearly, because it's very clear. It says, for truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law.
Well,
pretty clear, isn't it?
God's law will always be upheld.
Exactly. So
But
why
again,
do you think
do you-
Leviticus chapter 25 went away?
Do you reject the fact that there are different types of laws in the Old Testament?
Yeah.
So you believe they're all the same?
No, they're not all the same. There's no categorization like you're suggesting there is. There's no set of civil and moral in these laws. It doesn't work like that in the Old Testament. That's your misunderstanding of the Old
Oh, is it?
Testament. Yeah.
So you wouldn't put the Ten Commandments above ceremonial laws as being more important? They're all the
They're
same.
all important to God. God says you have to keep this entire law, all of
I
it,
didn't.
through the entire
That's not
Old
the claim I
Testament.
made.
Listen, through the entire Old Testament, when people stop keeping the law, God does terrible, terrible things to them. He
Hey,
does not
that's
want
not the
people
claim
to
I
stop
made.
keeping the law.
The claim I made is you don't think God set apart 10 commandments above the rest?
No, he did not.
Okay. So that is dumb because God literally
It's not
witnessed to
dumb.
Moses in
Now
person.
you're just calling God a liar. And it's
No.
fucking hilarious. Y'all Christians are so funny that y'all try to come up here and think you know more about the Bible than people that's actually educated on the Bible. It's
Okay,
hilarious.
yeah, because you're educated.
Yeah,
'cause
so
all the
God
laws are the
says
same.
you will keep this entire law, all of it. He says, keep all my commands, statutes, and decrees all the days that you live on this earth, because keeping this law that is entirely just is what is doing good and right in my sight, and this will allow you to live in the land that I have given you and your children after you forever. That's what God said. Keep the entire law.
Yeah, well, you don't really understand the position that Christians have had for 1,000 years that there's different types of laws. Also, you don't have any basis for
What did God
morality other
say
than
there
your
that
opinion.
confuses Christians? When
No,
God
it's
says
fine.
this law is perfect and to keep all of it forever, what's confusing to Christians about that?
No, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, and you have zero basis for morality. You've never
Oh,
understood the
we're
fact
back
that
to
there are
that
different
now.
types of
Yeah,
laws,
I
but
got
it's
you.
fine.
I'd go back to that if I got destroyed up here too, buddy.
Okay, yeah. No, where do you base your morality?
So
Again,
listen, I'll give you one more chance. Show us where, as a Christian, you can show us that slavery is a sin according to the Bible.
where do you base your morality?
Oh my God!
It's
What a
just bad
dishonest.
because it's bad.
These
And
days are so intellectually dishonest. It's just fucking sad for real. Listen, man, I implore you, grow the fuck up and start addressing the actual issue like an adult here. Just coming up here and saying you ain't got morality just makes you look dumb because, again, your basis for morality is pro-slavery. So, yeah. Oh man! Oh shit! That's funny. Let me give this some chocolate milk real quick. Dang! Dang! Dang, y'all! Dang out here. All right, let's see. Hey, Strength and Christ is here. Oh, he's not here. He gets priority. He's silly. That would have been funny though. He's silly. All right, let's keep it moving here. We got Ronnie and then Lando. Ronnie and then Lando. Ronnie is loading in really, really slowly. I don't know why you wasn't loading in, Ronnie, but just request back up if that was excuse me, if that was on purpose there. We'll move on to Lando. Man, that's a cool name. What's his real name?
Hey
Lando.
man,
What's up, buddy?
I
Are you
I
one
just
of the
wanted
Christians?
I just wanted to say I support what you're saying, and the argument that you know Christians use to justify slavery is the time period. It just doesn't work because Buddhism, came 1,000 years before Christ and literally is against slavery, murder, all of it. It just doesn't work, straight up.
Straight up. Yeah, appreciate you, Lando. Cool name, man. If that's your real name, that's a cool ass name. Legendary name, even. But let's move on here. Let's see. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, anyway, the queue is wide open for the first time so far, and it probably won't last long because they are absolutely rolling in today, which is fucking awesome. Which is fucking awesome. Lots of attention being brought to some modern day problems here, isn't it? Man. But for real though, we need to this has to be addressed. In fact, this is why I started this freaking channel right here. Is because some MAGA Christians today have lost their goddamn minds, is why I started this fucking channel. Openly and publicly calling to bring back stuff like slavery and manifesting destiny. Unfucking real, people. 2026. 2026. This is where Christians want to go. Back to slavery and conquering people. This cannot stand, folks. And it will not stand if I have anything to do with it. So that's why I'm here and that's why I do this, even though honestly it just makes me want to puke every time somebody comes up here and tries to do this. It's not that fun for me most of the time, even though I do enjoy discussing this topic and like Bible stuff. But this is a hard job, man. It really is. Like, this is rough stuff out here. It's the dark side of humanity. It's bad. That's why we're in desperate need of some intellectually honest Christians that will come up here and admit that there is a serious fucking problem here. And the problem is that according to the Bible and according to God, slavery is perfectly all right. That's not cool, man. It's not cool. And like, my God, it's wild to think about for real. But this guy like Doug Wilson and shit, he says the mistake that the South made with slavery was making it about race or whatever. He says that was the mistake. This time, he wants slavery to be all inclusive, even for it don't matter what. We're not prejudiced. We'll take anybody as slaves. That's what he says. That's their view on it now. Like, I mean, this is beyond wicked, and the fact that this is happening, like, and it's so blatant in public. I mean, it really does. It just blows my fucking mind. It really blows my fucking mind that people come up here in public today. Like, how are these people raised? How did you grow up? Like, it's 2026 and it's like, you're okay with slavery? Like, what the fuck happened in your life, man? Like, what is going on for real? Like, something is not right. This is, this is a serious, serious, serious problem, and it's a gigantic headache for me personally. Islam's probably worse. We'll deal with them next. Shit. But anyway, the queue is wide open for the first time today. There is folks flowing through. Shit. What's up? What's going on, y'all? I think I'm scared of the honest truth. I'm scared. I don't wanna. Some dogs a bit quiet. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell for real. Like almost literally everything that you hear the Christians these days say about Islam is literally the same in Christian. Like, they're always like, oh, they kill apostates. It's like, hello, motherfuckers. Have y'all read Deuteronomy 13? Like, everything they say works both ways. So I'm not sure. I don't know, man. I really don't. I ain't no for real. Let's see, Jay's here. Let's bring it. What up, what up?
I'm gonna give you the answer even though you're scared. Is that okay?
Oh, damn it. Yeah, I guess.
It may help put some
Do it
pieces
gently,
together.
okay?
I'm gonna rip the band-aid off because it may help. They're told to just play the game, right? Like, they're told that if you learn anything else, like in school, how slavery is bad, just play the game, write the paper about how slavery is bad, but no, it's actually not. That's what's happening. My parents did the same thing to me on concepts that were like this. And yeah. It's called just play the game.
Damn it.
Yep. It's a really, really, really like basic answer, and it's pretty like right there. But yeah.
Well, thank you for pulling my head out of the sand on that one.
Yep, you're very welcome.
Yeah,
That's it. It's a really simple thing, but it's a bitch to deal with, honestly.
It's depressing. It really is.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I don't argue with those people anymore, because I'm like, you know what? No matter what I say, you're gonna think I just have to play the game. I just have to play the game. And no matter what my thoughts are right. So there we go.
Yikes.
Yep. All right. I'm going back to the comments to listen. Hopefully we get some more people in here.
Oh, I'm sure we will. There was, up until the last couple of minutes, there was absolutely, I mean, jammed in there, traffic jam.
Awesome.
I'm sure we'll pick it back up. I'll do
Awesome.
a reset or change the background or something if we don't get in. But good talking to you. I appreciate you as always.
Always good to see you.
Oh, yeah. Have a good one. Yo, y'all. It's rough out there. Let me see. It's kind of like all my prompts got something to do with we have to go back to freaking something a little more generic, I guess. A little bit slavery relief or something. Oh, shit. Let's see. I don't know though. I really feel like this one's a important one and also high engagement, so it's kind of hard to change it for a couple reasons. You know, man. Anyway, the queue is wide open for the first time today. So please, if you want to discuss the prompt here, please do. Let's see, maybe we got somebody here. What does that say? AFL advice. AFL, you there?
Yo, bro.
Hey, what's up?
You can hear me?
Yeah. Are you a Christian?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Cool,
Yeah.
man. So
I wouldn't
please,
say like
you could prove that wrong.
I'm not really like I wouldn't say I could really prove it wrong or right, but I do have a question more so. So
Sure.
because I've been watching your live for a little while now, and I've been over here looking up videos and everything about it, just everything you're saying. And so somebody told me like basically these are more like historical accounts. Like so the slavery, the polygamy it talks about in the Bible, all these different things are more so historical accounts. But also in Exodus, like can you basically discredit like God basically saved all the slaves in Egypt. He freed all the slaves in
Yeah.
Egypt, and he told us like you should not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. So like, what do you think about that? I do think that maybe there's some parts of the Bible that I can't say whether it glorifies it or not.
Well, you know,
But
it
I
just
do
puts them
think there's
back into
parts.
slavery after that too, don't you?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like my whole point. I'm not too educated or informed about everything. So basically,
Yeah,
you're
he
saying
brings them out of
that
Egypt. They act bad. He floods the world. That still
okay,
don't work. They're still bad. So he sends them off into an exile and has a bunch of women raped and stuff. That don't work. So he does it again, and that's supposed to be like he literally says like when the new when the new covenant is formed in Jeremiah 31. He literally says he's pretty much saying like this time if it don't work, it's over. Like Israel's never going to be a nation before me again. And that was after the Babylonian exile.
okay. Well, the last thing I do want to say is I appreciate you having this like type of debate. I think that there's a lot of people that hate when people like go against their beliefs or whatever, but I think like arguments and conversations like this are needed for people like me that's not 100% educated on everything. So I'm definitely going to look more into everything.
I hear you, man.
For
Do
sure.
that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Do it. No problem, man. That was a cool guest. Shit. Oh, crud. I've got a lot of messages. All right. Let's try the next one. What does that say? Jobby. Got some chickens there. That's cool. Hey, Jobby, you there? Jobby. Oh, that's been an accident. Nice. All right. Queue is wide open. Wide open. The algorithm is flowing. The dogs won't shut the hell up. And good times. I almost want to go back and try that other one that's even more straightforward than this. As far as the background goes, I mean. But this has been a really, really good one as far as engagement and stuff. But it's more or less why I started this channel, literally, is for this reason here. That manifesting destiny. They have lost their minds out here, y'all. Lost their minds out here. All right, let's see. A couple people jumped up at once here. Let's see. Hey, Deborah, you there?
Hello.
Hey, what's up? Are you a Christian?
No, I'm one of your friendlies. I do want to mention a couple of things. Luke 12, 47 through 48. Jesus is talking about a parable.
Yeah.
But in that parable, he's talking about beating of slaves.
Yeah, I read that earlier, actually.
I think that needs to be hounded so much harder. I must have walked away from my phone for a second, but that cannot be overstated. There's another part, I don't actually remember the citation for the other one, but Jesus is condemning the Pharisees who have created a loophole for not stoning your children.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yeah, there's another one in Luke 17 where he, like, uses a slave as a comparison to, like, how you're supposed to, like, act toward God, or, you know, it's basically his last sentence in that says, you're just worthless slaves who've done what you ought to done. So
right. That's Luke 17:10.
That's why I say they glorify that shit. It's because of stuff like that.
Right. So if Jesus is doubling down on his Father's law, I don't know how you can get it any more clearly than Matthew 5, where completion does not mean abolishment, but they're twisting the gymnastics and the meanings, and words don't mean words anymore.
I say it all the time, but that verse 18 in Matthew 5, that's the number one most, like, disregarded verse in the Christian mind in the entire Bible. Is that verse right there. Like, they can't let it say until heaven and earth pass away the law will stand. To them it has to say until I die,
right,
the law will stand. That's how they read that. No matter how many times you read it to them, it means when he
there's
dies.
There's also a couple of verses in the New Testament that state that the day of judgment you are judged by a list of your deeds, right? So deeds are actions. And if God says to essentially, Deuteronomy 6:5, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength, that is, he's including the physical.
Right.
The physical is what you are doing to show that you love God, right? And by doing that, Ecclesiastes 12:13, at the end of it all, your duty is to love the Lord your God and keep his commands, right? You already mentioned, I'm hounding this, that this is eternal. If these laws, and many of them do, have the little caveat added to them that this is forever. You shall do this in all your dwellings, in all your generations. God calls his law perfect and eternal a few times.
Right,
I don't know how somebody, until I saw this, I didn't adopt this into my own belief system when I was a follower of Christ. Because when I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And I'm like, oh, shoot, Sabbath is forever. Like, anyway, I
read the verse from 12 all the time where it says, this is the diligently observe the commands I've given you to occupy all the days that you live on the earth.
It's not that hard, right? I think that's Deuteronomy 13. It's not too hard, not too far. You don't need anybody in the middle to go get it for you. He says it's sweeter than honey. And all of a sudden, oh no, it's too hard. It's too hard. No, it's not, actually, because not all of them apply to one person. Like, one person on the planet, it doesn't matter what part of history you look at, that one person doesn't have to follow all the laws. Right, because they don't all apply. Some of them are only when you're sick. Some of them are only when you're building houses. Some of them are only when you're menstruating. Some of them are only if you are a Levite priest. Some of them are only for high holy days. So when you break it down, which I did, Torah observant for 6 years, it isn't all that hard. But they're going to say it's hard. However, 613 laws in the Old Testament, there's over 1,000 in the New. So, Christians, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Thank you for having me up here.
No problem. Good to meet you, Deborah. Thank you for coming up and saying that. I appreciate you. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that part. That was a good one. That was a good one. Damn. Nice. High fives on that one. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. All right, queue is wide open, y'all. And I've still got some time here too, so got some time before my nap later. If I don't take my nap, I get cranky. Boy, I get mean later on. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, all right, the queue is wide open for the first time today. So please, if you're a Christian out there, please, for the love of all things sacred, come and prove this prompt wrong. Please. Let's see. Oops. Well, we're still getting requests, but there are some accidents and other ones just disappear. So hang around. We'll definitely get somebody to talk to, I think. Because the old algorithm is moving for me today. Kinda. That's pretty cool. We had nearly 200 people in here for a while. That was pretty awesome. We like the high attendance for several reasons. Anyway, hey, Sigloop, are you there? Sig?
Yo, hello?
What's up, man? You there?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, man? Are you one of the
There's verses where it says to accept don't accept the runaway slave but a brother in Christ.
What?
I forgot the verse, but it was like a runaway slave, but they told him to not accept them as a slave but a brother in Christ. Does anyone know the verse?
I don't know what you mean. I know in Deuteronomy 21, I think it is, or maybe it might be 23 actually. It says when you're encamped against the enemy and you find one of their slaves, you have to turn them loose. You can't return them.
Yeah, there's a verse, runaway slave. But not as a slave, but brother in Christ.
Oh, are you talking about Philemon? Hello?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the verse on top of my head, but that's what it's talking about.
Yeah, if he's talking about Philemon, he's just asking him to accept his slave as a brother in Christ.
Yeah, but what does that
It
mean?
never says you can't own slaves.
But what does that mean?
It means accept him as a brother in Christ.
Yeah, no longer as a slave. What does that mean to you?
That means he's a slave to God, is how Paul looked at it. He says you're freed from sin and enslaved to God. You can only be God's slave in the Christian mind, unless you're somebody else's slave. But yeah, that's from Romans 6:22. It says, "But now
What
that
does
you
that
have been
mean? We're
freed
all
from
brothers
sin
in
and have
Christ
become
and
slaves
not a
of God,
slave?"
the fruit you shall get leads to sanctification and its end, eternal life."
I don't know. I don't know how you could just see Jesus the way he lived, died, and rose from the dead, and just be like, yeah, he condoned slavery 100%. Like, Come on, dude.
Well, he tells a bunch of stories and uses slaves as an examples, and he never once says, "Oh, by the way,
You know
man,
how
don't
bad
beat the
slavery
slave,"
was
and
back
stuff like
then?
that.
God showed us ways to get out of it. He just didn't tell us
No, God
stop
allowed it.
slavery because we would never listen. You know how bad slavery? Everyone had a slave.
Not
Everyone was
everyone.
slave
Slaves
to
were.
one another. That's how bad slavery was. But God showed us a way
I
to
don't know
get
what
out
that
of
means.
it.
No, God allowed it.
He showed us how to, even though slavery was so bad, he showed us how to respect our slaves, how to not mistreat them because how bad slavery was. It was insane how bad
Is
slavery
beating a
was.
slave
Everyone owned
mistreating
them.
them?
But there's verses where he's trying to stop us from slavery. He's like, no longer as a
It
slave,
never
but a brother in
says
Christ.
once. Never says that. It says you can beat a slave. It says you can treat them as a slave as long as they're not Israelites. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what happened. I think he shut down there. I ain't sure. Anyway. The Mr. Oh, that's a accidental request there. All right, well, what's your speak? Damn. Oh man. Good morning, Katie. Hello. Oh shit. That's funny. Damn. Damn. Anyway, request box is wide open. Basically for the first time today. That's pretty cool. So if you're a Christian out there, then please, for the love of all things sacred, prove my prompt wrong. Oh shit. Keep getting requests, but they're going away. I appreciate y'all. Anyway, queue is wide open. If you're a Christian out there, actually, maybe we just do. Let me look at the. Let's see. I don't know. Let's just leave it. Let's see. Is that Fia? Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hello. Are you a Christian?
I'm a Catholic. I don't know if that's like not, I don't know if I'm allowed to be in here if I'm Catholic. I don't know what the
Yeah,
guidelines are.
you're allowed. You're a Christian. But
Alright.
anyway, so please, for the love of all things sacred, prove my prompt wrong.
I was just I'm not like I'm genuinely confused on like I put in the chat what verse does it say that. I'm going back into the Catholic Church because I did take a break from it last year. But in Leviticus, someone said Leviticus 25:46, it does mention slavery and how he glorifies it. So I'm going to read that right now. Because personally, I'm not partial.
You don't glorify slavery, do you?
No, of course not. Oh my gosh, no. No, I'm colored myself.
Don't scare us like that.
No, oh my gosh, no, I'm colored myself.
Oh God, you're not gonna like this.
That's why I'm like, oh no, like.
Yeah, this is gonna be really bad. You said you're looking for Leviticus 25?
Yeah, I found it though.
I got you. I was gonna say I'll read it real quick if you.
Mm. The reason why that this confuses me is that um in the book of Exodus he saves people. He saves the Israelites from slavery. That's why I joined.
Kind of.
So
He basically took them out of slavery in Egypt and put them in slavery to him again, is what happened there. Not to mention he puts them back into slavery 2 more times after that. So,
okay.
but I mean, you're right. You could look at it as he freed them from slavery, but he also granted them the right to have slaves themselves. Explicitly, it says you can beat them. Says you can sell your daughter as a slave. And if you sell your daughter as a slave, she can't go out as the male slaves do. It says you can take women and children as war captives and make them marry you. Like, not only is this condoning like chattel slavery as an institution, but we're also literally talking about child sex slavery as well. Moses takes child sex slaves in Numbers 21.
Okay.
I think it's 21. Number 21. But yeah, even in the New Testament, like I don't know if you heard us talking about it, but Jesus tells a bunch of stories, and he uses a slave like as a comparison for the story in the parables he's telling. But he's using a slave to make the point, and it doesn't sound good at all.
Right, I'll definitely read those. I'm getting back into the Catholic Church because I grew up Catholic, and then I branched off into paganism for a little bit, which is completely different. But I wanted to.
Wait a minute, you were in the faith and then you left?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Oh wow, you can't go back. I hate to tell you that.
Well, I mean, I'm getting confirmed this year, and
Well, the church might confirm you, but God won't. Like, you're out according to Hebrews chapter 6. It says you cannot be brought back to repentance if you have tasted the Holy Spirit and shared the heavenly gift and the good word of God and stuff like that. It says you cannot be brought back to repentance. In fact, it says it's going to be worse for you than someone who never even knew God.
You say
so you might as well be an atheist like us anyway, and then you won't even have to defend slavery at all. It's going to be great.
All right.
We have parties over here.
Where does it say that?
Hebrews 6.
Hebrews 6. Thank you.
Here, I'll read it real quick. Oops. If I can actually get on it. Yeah, it's pretty rough actually. The perils of falling away. It says, for it is impossible to restore again to repentance those who have once been enlightened and have tasted the heavenly gift and have shared in the Holy Spirit and have tasted the good word of God and the powers of the age to come, and then have fallen away since they are again crucifying the Son of God to their own harm and holding him up to contempt. So this is saying you cannot be brought back to repentance if you fall away, because you are again crucifying Christ all over again.
I see. Okay. Let me.
Yeah, that's verse 4 through 6 in Hebrews 6, if you want to pick that one up. If you ask your priest, though, it probably means something else. Undoubtedly. And then in Luke chapter 12, verse 47, Jesus says, that slave who knew what his master wanted but did not prepare himself or do what was wanted will receive a severe beating. But the one who did not know and did what deserved a beating will receive a light beating. So, like, Jesus tells a lot of stories like that. And I just feel like that would have been like a good opportunity to maybe say, you know, by the way, I didn't actually mean beat your slave here, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, because that just looks really, really bad for Jesus.
Yeah, it's definitely
That was
it
me
definitely
anyway.
brings some questions of myself growing up Catholic and then going back and reading the Bible more often. It's just very mind-boggling to think about.
Yeah, it really is crazy. But here's another one, and this is the passage that I use to say Christian. This is why I say Christianity glorifies slavery. It's stuff like this right here. So it's this one coupled with like what Romans is saying. But anyway, this is Jesus describing how you're supposed to act in accordance with God, right? But he's using a slave again as an example. And it says, who among you would say to your slave who has just come in from plowing or tending the sheep in the field, come here at once and take your place at the table? Would you not rather say to him, prepare supper for me, put on your apron and serve me while I eat and drink, and later you may eat and drink? Do you thank the slave for doing what was commanded? Question mark. No. It says, so you also, when you have done all that you were ordered to do, say, we are worthless slaves, and we have only done what we ought to have done. That's how you're supposed to act to God. Like, you're just a worthless slave to God, basically, is what Jesus is saying. God don't have to say thank you. You just serve God, and that's it. He don't owe you nothing. It's basically what Jesus is saying here.
I mean, I feel like it's a very, oh geez, going into my morning with this is insane. But I was genuinely curious. I wanted to know what you thought about what I wanted to know more about how you think that.
But yeah, like and then in Romans chapter 6, it says, now that you have been freed from sin and have become slaves of God, the fruit you get leads to sanctification, and its end, eternal life. So like, not only is Christianity like literally and lawfully okay with the institution of slavery, but it literally glorifies being a slave to God. Like, you are literally signing up for slavery to God when you sign up for Christianity, because you're supposed to do God's will, not your will, right?
But didn't God give us free will?
I mean, you might could say that, but God violates free will constantly in the Bible. Like, he does it to Jonah. Jonah tries to leave, and God keeps blowing the wind back. He's like, you're not getting out of here. You need to go talk to Nineveh. So he wouldn't let Jonah run away. He violated his free will to leave. Jonah wanted to freaking leave. He closed, what do you call it, the wombs in Abimelech's family. So he took away their free will to have children. He hardened the Pharaoh's heart so he wouldn't let the Israelites go out of the Exodus. And this one, actually, I'll just read you this one. This one is bad, let me tell you. It says, there was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, except for the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gideon. All the others they took in battle. For it was the Lord's doing to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might utterly destroy them, and that they might receive no mercy, but that he might utterly destroy them, just as the Lord commanded Moses. So it's saying God literally hardened the nation's heart so he could utterly destroy them, so they would come into battle. So he was like forcing them to come into battle against Israel. And then he uses Babylon to enslave Israel. That's when he makes the Israelites eat their own kids in the siege. And then he uses Babylon to enslave Israel. And then after the 70 years, when he's done punishing Israel, he destroys Babylon for having been used by him. Like, it's really, really bad.
Yeah,
like, it's utterly evil.
I understand.
You know, when you get it, you know, when it's put in perspective, like I paint quite the picture, don't
I? Yeah, like I grew up in Catholic, so I never viewed things like this. I never saw things from like a bird's eye view like you do. I genuinely, I give props to that.
Thank you. But I mean, literally, all you got to do is read it. That's it. Like in
Yeah, of course, of
Joshua
course.
chapter 11, it said it was the Lord's doing to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might utterly destroy them and show them no mercy. Like, it's simple read. Like, it's not a mystery.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
right
a
there.
secret.
Right there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, unless you somehow find a way to be okay with this stuff, like when I was a Christian, I found this kind of stuff I still find it deeply disturbing. But as a Christian, I really, really found it disturbing, to be honest with you.
It is
Like, as bad
definitely
as it is now.
it is definitely disturbing, and I will take some time for myself and do more research on that. I didn't want to like debate with you. I genuinely want to ask more questions and get more information.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
What
I
I got,
understand.
what I'm reading. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
But I thank you for this time today.
yeah, no problem.
I'll
If
keep
you do some more research and you're
Mhm.
like, man, this dude was right, come back and tell us about it.
Of course, yes, I will.
Yeah,
All right.
please do. Thank you, Phil. Well, we appreciate you.
You're welcome.
W's for learning. Readers are leaders, y'all. Readers are leaders. All right, let's see. We got Zach, and then Nick, and then Shane, I think. And I don't think Zach is here, so. Yeah, Nick here. Hey, Nick, are you there?
Yeah. How you doing?
Yeah, what's up, man? Are you a Christian?
Yes, sir. Well, I am. I'm a big follower of Jesus, man. I can't say I'm a Christian. You know,
Oh, I mean, yeah,
people
that's cool.
people twist it
So
up. You know, so I'm a big follower of Jesus. And you know that's my salvation right there to get to heaven.
Gotcha. Well, please, for the love of all things sacred, please prove my prompt wrong.
All right. So Jesus did not glorify slavery, right? So what the Bible calls us in relation to Christ is not modern slavery like abuse, chains, and human trafficking. When you look at the original Greek word doulos, it points to a servant of bond servant, not the ugly kind of slavery people picture today. So like, don't say Jesus wants to own me like a human master. Just say Jesus saved me, and now I serve him for love.
Right.
So like if you look at Exodus 21:2, it says, and I'm gonna read this from like the King James version. It says, if thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out and free nothing. So like we can't fail because Jesus cannot fail. You know what I'm saying?
What does that have to do with Exodus 21, though?
I just showed you. I just proved it. So you're saying
talking about a Hebrew male debt slave.
What you're saying is that he was pro slavery, right?
Oh yeah, it definitely was. Yeah.
But I just proved to you that is not. Jesus didn't glorify that.
Well, you might think you proved that, but I don't think we're quite done yet. So in
then,
Exodus 21 here, huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, well, in Exodus 21, it says, when you buy a male Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years, but in the 7th year, he shall go out a free person without debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then after that, it says, if he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he came in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. That means the master gets to keep the wife and the kids for life. It says, but if the slave declares, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out a free person. Then his master shall bring him before God. He shall be brought to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his will with the awl, and he shall serve him for life. So it's saying a male Hebrew Israelite can be made a slave for life.
I think you're confused, and then I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like I'm not here to like debate. Like I'm just trying to. Of course, I'm gonna always try to save souls. You know what I'm saying? So if you think it's a debate, it's not debation. I'm gonna keep it real. You know. So I'm gonna love you like a brother. You know what I'm saying? So You're looking at the older law. So you said that Jesus is pro-slavery, but in
Yeah,
Exodus,
Jesus said to keep the law of Moses.
you're no. So you're prove that.
What? It's in Matthew chapter 5. It's on the Sermon on the Mount.
Let's
It
read it.
says, "For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished." He's talking about the law of Moses.
Okay. So again, he's not pro-slavery. That's what I'm saying. Jesus saved you, so
The
now
law is
serve
pro-slavery.
him. You serve. So
Jesus said to
you
keep the
serve
law.
him. So we serve Jesus out of love. Understand? Like we serve Jesus out of love.
Yeah, but
That's
that don't
not
have nothing to do with
slavery.
slavery, though.
But that's
Well,
what
Paul
that's
says you're a
your
slave to God.
huh?
Paul says you're a slave of God. He literally calls you a slave.
Yeah, dude, I'm a slave to God because like, bro, like I owe my life
That's why
to
I
him.
say
You
y'all
know?
glorify slavery, because you think it's a glorious thing to be a slave of God.
But like you're speaking out of fear. You think that's a bad thing. That's fear speaking.
Yeah, I
That's
think slavery is a
literally
bad thing. Yeah.
yeah, I mean slavery from like from being enslaved by actual people. But like
Yeah,
we're of
but
course
God allows that. Christianity allows that. The Bible allows that. It doesn't condemn it one time. Owning someone as a piece of property and beating them is not a sin in the eyes of God, according to the Bible. You're not going to offend God by owning a slave. He's cool with it.
yeah, dude.
I'm saying that's what the Bible says. And Jesus tells a bunch of stories where he uses a slave as an example in the story, like the parable he's telling. And I mean, I'm sorry, but that would have been a great time to say, hey, even though I'm using a slave as an example here, maybe like don't own slaves or beat slaves,
So you're
because
saying
he seems to be saying the opposite.
you're saying he justifies in abusing people, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
All
Jesus
right,
says in Luke chapter 12, when he tells one of these parables, it says, "The slave who knew
okay,
what his
but
master wanted
that's
and did not prepare himself will
but
receive a
you're
severe
looking at
beating."
that's not gospel. Like you're looking at it all wrong. That's what I'm saying. Like the gospel is Jesus died for our sins, was buried, and rose again. That's freedom stuff, not bondage stuff. Jesus never
Yeah, but
came to
I'm talking about
glorify
slavery
human.
specifically, though.
Like yeah, but that's what I'm saying, bro. Jesus never
Jesus
came
might
to
die for your
glorify human
sins, but
sin.
slavery isn't one of those sins, because slavery isn't a sin in the Bible. That's my whole point. That's why I say it condones it. Condone means to allow or permit immoral behavior to continue. And the Bible permits and allows slavery. So by definition, the Bible is condoning slavery. Chattel slavery. And Jesus never once seems to suggest anything against it. He doesn't say, hey, don't own a slave, don't beat a slave. Doesn't suggest that one time. In fact, he uses stories where he's talking about beating the slave severely. So, I mean, how should I take this when Jesus is telling stories about beating slaves severely and they deserved it? I mean, it doesn't really suggest that he's not okay with beating slaves.
All right, bro. Have a good one. Thank you for letting me come on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna say God bless you. All right. God bless everybody on here.
Marduk bless you, buddy. Marduk was a far better god when it came to slavery than Yahweh was. All right. Let's see. Shane was next. I don't think Shane's there. Dang, over 2 hours. All right, let's see. Whoops. Oh, they're flowing in, but I can't. Dang. Disbelief for God. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, if you are a Christian and you want to discuss the topic here, we would really, really love for somebody to come up here and prove this wrong, or at least show us you're willing to say it's wrong, even though God says it's right. I'll even be satisfied. We'll call that a cooking. Hell, I'm giving y'all the answer here. Oh, wait, he's already been up there. Like, we will accept that I'm a Christian, but I do not endorse slavery, even though God says it's okay. What was the AFL, are you requesting up on purpose? I can't remember if it was I know it was just up a little bit ago, but I can't remember. Oh, I got you. That was an accident. Hey, welcome back, buddy. What you got?
Hey, all right. So I did a little research or whatever. I wanted to get a couple, ask you a couple questions. So one thing somebody told me was basically, which I'm pretty sure you guys already discussed, but like slavery in the Bible was different than modern slavery, right? I don't think it was right, but it was different. So I think
what was different
argument
about it?
Well, for example, a lot of slaves back then were I don't know the exact word for it, but they were kind of like in service to a house, if you know what I mean. I forget what kind of slave that's called.
Like in the South?
Nah, it's like that's chattel slavery, right? It was more
Did
like
you say chattel slavery?
whatever it's called, some shit like that. Basically,
oh my goodness,
Hebrew slavery was
the
different,
French
right?
perfume there. Chattel slavery.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what it's called, but
I got you.
Basically,
it's called chattel.
Chattel. All right, cool.
Yeah, the lawful definition is owning. Chattel is movable article of personal property, right? So it's property that you can move, not like
basically you disagree that slavery was different then, or
no? It was the same.
All right, we get. All right, well,
it was the same definitionally because there's the definition: owning a human being.
Yeah, definitionally, cool. But I'm just asking you: do you think that it was different in the Bible versus like in the South?
No, it wasn't different. The only difference was the occupation most slaves did.
So one thing I keep hearing you saying is the Bible doesn't condemn it, right? So what I brought up was Exodus 21:16. It says, "And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." And then this verse is then in Deuteronomy 24:7. They reiterate that if a person kidnaps someone and treats them as a slave or sells them, the kidnapper must be killed.
Yeah. Yeah, they're saying you can't steal a person. You have to acquire things through legal means. It's like saying you can own a car, but you can't steal someone else's car.
Okay. Yep, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's all it's saying.
Okay, and then what was the other one? Timothy 1:10. It says Apostle Paul lists examples of sinful behavior. He basically says for the sexually immoral, for those practicing homosexuality, for slave traders and liars and perjurers, and for whatever else is contrary to the sound of doctrine. So he basically was like saying slave traders are equal to murderers and rapists, and that it goes against like the law. What do you think about that?
That's what he was talking about. That's what he's talking about, the man stealers.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
He's talking about the man stealers.
The man stealers. So basically you're saying he's saying stealing people was wrong, but not actually slavery itself was wrong, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Slave is fine as long as you acquire them by proper means. Okay. You can't just go grabbing your fellow Israelite and making him a slave, you know what I mean?
Okay, I fully understand what you're saying now. That makes perfect sense. I guess basically from what you're telling me, I can't argue it because everything you said, I haven't seen anything to go against it. So I am going to keep researching and keep looking. I appreciate you having this conversation with me.
Yes, sir. Anytime, buddy. Yeah, keep looking, man. It's not good. Just keep looking, Joe. It's not there, though. Definitely not there. All right, so I'm getting to the point where my neck is kind of starting to hurt, but I'm still in the mood, and I do still got some time. So if the requests keep coming in quickly, then we'll keep taking them. Because I still got a while. I still got at least 45 minutes. Still. I mean, at least for real. But anyway, the requests have been flowing today, so that's awesome. So as long as they keep it up, we'll stay on. But if they slow down, I'll probably just end the stream. We'll go raid somebody, I guess. I don't know. Oh, man. All right. So the queue is open, and it's been open very rarely today. So it's wide open at the moment. So if you are a Christian and you want to, please, for the love of all things sacred, prove this prompt wrong, then please come do it. Because while it might be impossible for you to show us that slavery is a sin in the Bible, you can still at least come save some face for Christianity and say, hey, we're still against slavery. Like, we'll accept that. In fact, that's what we want to hear. Please just come up and say, you know what? Even though the Bible's fine with slavery, I can't get down with that. We'll throw you a win over here. We'll throw you a win over here. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that, man. Man, it's been a really good day, though. I had tons of people to talk to. Tons of people, tons of viewership. It's been killer. It's been killer. Dr. Josh come up for a while. We always love cooking with him. Like, he could not be beat at this. It just don't happen. Anyway, we'll give it a few more minutes and do a call. We'll put a last call out if anybody wants to come on up. I might go lay around for a while. We got Hebrew class tonight. First class of the semester. Which is super fucking cool, by the way. Super fucking cool. Anyway, if you're a Christian out there and you would like to discuss the prompt, then please, please come prove it wrong. Come on through. There's probably no such thing as any Jesus. Who knows, though? I don't know. I still technically ride the line on mythicism. Can't get super definitive one way or the other. Even though it wouldn't surprise me one way or the other either. I don't know, Mama. Well, I've been talking about it all day so far. You're right. Christians can't wait to sin. Wasn't there a church? Which church? There was one of the church fathers that had a letter that was saying, like, Christians are going to rejoice watching over the tormented or whatever. Like, that's going to be like entertainment. Like, yikes. Yikes. Zoinks. Yeah. Well, we're dealing with a pretty gross religion. It's quite horrific. Quite horrific. Quite horrific. Anyway, where are we at here? It's 10:14. I'll give it like 3 or 4 minutes and jinkies. Hell yeah. Somebody caught my reference there. Yeah, we'll give it I don't know, 3 or 4 more minutes. If we don't get somebody up, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out and we'll go raid Christ Before Jesus or something. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've never, like, I guess it's not too important to me, but I've never, like, just totally went, like, all out on the mythicism thing either. So maybe it's not, but I find it extremely interesting, though. But it seems like it also kind of hinges on whether Paul thought that Jesus was a real person or not. So, I mean, to me, you would have to definitively show me 100% that, like, when Paul said Jesus came from the loins of David, that he didn't mean an actual human. Would probably get me on board with that. Otherwise, I'm, like, right there. I'm like 49, 51% on maybe who was real. Like, it's almost nothing. Almost nothing. Yeah, he does say that. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, there's tons of references where Paul explicitly says it's more of a spiritual type thing than a human. I get it. I really do. That's why I'm like almost there. But he also says things, talks about him being a human too, I think. So, oh, God. Oh, what the hell? What up, Bob?
Hey, how's it going?
What up, man? What's going on? So please prove the prompt wrong, man.
Yeah, well, I would just say that there are some forms of slavery that I wouldn't deem to be unjust. And the two that I would point out would be indentured servitude and slavery when it comes to things like penal infractions. So, somebody commits a crime, they're sentenced to slavery. I think that both of those are totally just. So it would seem the only one that you have an issue with is chattel slavery then.
Yeah.
Unless you've got an issue with the two I just pointed out.
So you're saying, well, I mean, I do. But, so you're saying, like, indentured servitude's more justified and chattel slavery's not?
Yeah, well, you got to understand, like, during this time, right, this is pre-industrial revolution. They didn't have an overabundance of things like food. There was no social safety nets at the time. So if you owed somebody a large amount of debt or, you didn't have the means to feed yourself, you could enter voluntarily into a thing like indentured servitude. So how this could be unjust, even in your worldview, I don't know. Would you rather that person starve?
Starve?
Yeah.
I don't know. If you want to be a slave, that's your business, I guess. But I mean, as far like if we're talking about in law, I'm not going to vote on having indentured. But anyway, in Leviticus, God actually forbids indentured servitude, but He allows chattel slavery. So
yeah. Well, again, when we get to the chattel slavery piece, I would just say that it's a necessary evil. God allows a necessary evil in order for these slaves to work on places like farms in order to produce food. Again, it's pre-industrial revolution.
You think God passed a law that God Himself considered a necessary evil?
Yeah, I mean, we allow necessary evils all the time. Like, for example, right now, when it comes to animals, right, on farms, a lot of them are maltreated and not treated well, but we would say that's a necessary evil so that people don't starve. So in this scenario, we could just say that God allows this necessary evil in order for, getting labor to produce things like food so people don't starve, and also for the building of infrastructure for Jesus to come. And I think that's completely logical.
Well, it goes against everything God says, unfortunately.
Leviticus is a temporary law. You yourself would at least agree to that,
No,
right?
it's not. Where did you get that from? Yeah.
Well, because it applies to the Jews, and then once Jesus comes, the Jews no longer are the chosen people.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So once Jesus arrives, the Jews are no longer the chosen people. Now the Gentiles come in.
Yeah. So are you aware that God says His entire law is what's doing good and right in His sight? It's just and it's perfect. He doesn't give bad laws, and He also doesn't give temporary laws either. I hate to tell you.
Well, I mean, that's just your opinion. There are moral absolutes like the Ten
actually.
Commandments that don't change, for sure. But then there are temporary edicts that God gives in the Bible. And they're meant to be temporary. And there's nothing illogical
Where does it
about
ever
that.
say that this is temporary?
Well, again, I just pointed out to you when Jesus comes, originally
Give me a
the
chapter
Jews,
and a verse where it says the law is going to go away.
Oh, you have to read the Bible. You have to read the New Testament. When Jesus arrives, the Jews
That's
are
how I
the
know God
chosen
says
people.
it's forever. All of it.
Well, again, when Jesus arrives, right, the Jews are the chosen people. And then Leviticus applies to the Jews. Once the Gentiles come into the picture, why would they follow Levitical law?
Well, that's what God said to do, so.
But why would God
It's weird.
expect
Y'all
Gentiles
it's like
to
you're
follow
completely
Levitical
oblivious
law?
to what God says all through the Old Testament. God says, here, I'll just read it to you. It says, be careful to obey all these words that I command you, so it may go well with you and your children after you forever, because you will be doing what is good and right in the sight of the Lord your God. These are the statutes and ordinances that you must diligently observe in the land your God has given your ancestors and has given you to occupy all the days that you live on this earth. Does that sound like it's temporary?
Yeah, well, what's it in reference to?
The law.
Oh,
His commands, his statutes, his ordinances.
Which passage is that?
Deuteronomy chapter 12. That's verse 1. And also, if you scroll on down to verse 28, it says, this is forever. And it says the law is doing what's good and right in his sight. And then in Deuteronomy 4, it says you are not to add to or take away from the law. And the entire law is just.
I'm pulling it up.
Oh, okay.
So it seems like the Christian response to this verse is that God is telling the Israelites, which going back again to chosen people, to avoid the corrupt, idolatrous practices of the surrounding cultures. Instead, they're to worship him exactly as he commanded.
Yeah, all the days that they live on the earth.
Right. Are the Jews still the chosen people in the Bible, sir? Thought we've already gone over this.
Yeah, where does God ever say that, oh, by the way, all the Gentiles are going to get out of this?
What do you mean get out of this?
I can show you a verse where the foreigners are welcomed into the covenant, and even the foreigners and the Gentiles are supposed to keep God's laws in his covenant. So it's weird that I seriously doubt that you can show me where God ever says the law is going away for anyone, but I can show you where it says everyone is supposed to keep the law, including the Israelites.
Yeah, let me look up a verse. Hang on.
And where I haven't forgot that he's
check
not even
Hebrews.
it wrong. He's agreeing with. Oh, sorry.
Can you bring up Hebrews 8:13?
Hebrews?
Yep, 8:13.
All
If you could read it out loud, that'd be great.
Yeah, and speaking of a new covenant, he makes a first one obsolete, and that is becoming obsolete and is growing old and ready to vanish away.
Yeah, can you read that again?
Yeah, and speaking of a new covenant, he makes the first one obsolete, and what is becoming obsolete and growing old is ready to vanish away.
So you want to admit that you were wrong?
No.
You just read it.
Where does that say the law went away?
Read it again. What do you think a new covenant is?
Okay.
Read it again.
What do you think a new covenant is?
Read it again, bro.
Do you think a covenant is the law?
Yes.
Do you think a covenant is... So you think God gave a new covenant and that meant a new law code came into effect?
That's a defeater for your position, sir. Go ahead, read it again.
No, it's not. It's a misunderstanding for your position. The old covenant is what was broken. But...
It's the DLC, bro.
Of a new covenant, I'll read it all the times you want. It still doesn't mean what you think it means.
It's the DLC,
and speaking of a new covenant, he makes the first one obsolete. And what is becoming obsolete and growing old is ready to vanish away.
So the old covenant goes away, including the Levitical law.
Nope. Doesn't
That's
say
a defeater for your position, bro.
Show us where that says, hey, show us where the law went away, buddy.
That right there clearly
show
states
us where a new covenant was made.
You want some more? Let me see if I can find some more. Hang on.
You can go to Ephesians chapter 2.
Yeah, bring up Romans 7:6.
Yeah, I know what they say. I know Paul thinks the law went away. That's why I
Yeah,
told you to bring up Ephesians
bring up
chapter 2. He
bring up
explicitly
Rome.
says the law is abolished in
Oh,
chapter
so
2.
Paul doesn't matter. Bring up Romans 7:6, bro.
Hey,
Read it.
do you remember what I asked you?
Why don't you read Romans 7:6 real quick?
Sir, do you remember what I asked you to show me?
Yeah, show you where the law goes away. That's what I'm trying to do
No,
right
I
now.
asked you to show me where God himself says the law is going away.
God speaks through Paul, bro. Read
No, he
Romans
doesn't. Paul
7:6.
makes shit up that goes directly against God and
Because it goes
Jesus.
against your position. So I've already shown you
So,
that.
so you're telling me that God was mistaken when he made an eternal covenant that said the law will be written on your heart and on your mind forever.
Basically that applies to both
Who you
covenants.
listening to, God or Paul? Who's right there?
Okay, so you're inferring that God was talking about that first covenant. So you're inferring that. But so I've
Well,
already
I
proven.
know
I've
what the
already
new
proven your
covenant
prompt
actually
wrong. By the way,
is
I've already
because I've
proven your
actually
prompt
read
wrong.
and studied all this, so I know what I'm talking about. And you
You
don't.
gonna come to Christ, bro? I've already proven your prompt wrong with the
No,
slavery
Christ
stuff.
was a piece of garbage, and he wasn't even a prophet.
Where's that even at in your
And,
in your worldview? How do you
and
get
your
to
God
anybody's a piece
sucks.
of garbage? Well, I guess everybody's a piece of garbage in your worldview.
I didn't say you're a piece of garbage.
I'm just saying, in your
I
worldview,
said
wouldn't everybody
Jesus
be a
is a
piece of
piece of
garbage?
garbage. Yeah, it's a piece of garbage because he's pro-slavery. He changed the law when he wasn't supposed to. He tried to pass thought crimes. He calls
But what's wrong
Canaanite
with
woman a
slavery in
dog.
your
He
worldview? Now that
advocated
we've
for
talked about
killing
mine.
kids. I think he's a horrible piece of garbage. Yeah.
But what's wrong with slavery in your worldview? Can you give me justification for why it's wrong?
No, I just think it's evil.
Oh, okay. So you just
Yeah,
my
like
prep,
enslaves
my
people,
feels,
takes their
my
will. You make
feels.
people work for you. You can fuck them if you want. It's called rape.
What's wrong with
Yeah,
that
that's
in
all
your
bad.
worldview? Do people have
I've
intrinsic
just told
value?
you.
Do people have
Just
intrinsic
told you.
value in your worldview?
I just told you. They don't in yours. They do in mine.
Okay, where do you get intrinsic value at in your worldview?
Oh my fucking God. Are you going to prove this prompt wrong or not?
I already did. We talked
No,
about
you didn't.
we've talked about indentured
You came up
servitude.
here
We
and you
talked
agreed
about
with it. You
penal
just said
infractions.
slavery is just. Like, you
We
literally
talked
came
about
up here and
necessary
agreed with the
evil.
fucking topic. You can't be this stupid.
Yeah, we talked about necessary evil, indentured servitude. We talked about penal infractions.
We talked about how you thought slavery was just. Yeah.
Okay, so you disagree with indentured servitude then?
Hey, what does this prompt say? Does it
Do you
say prove it wrong
disagree?
or come up here and agree with it?
Well, you said that I showed that slavery, some forms of slavery.
Oh my God. What a fucking. Oh man, shit. Oh my God. I gotta catch a grasp on myself. He said I won. Yeah, you won, buddy. Woo, shit. Oh man, I did that laugh, buddy. Oh my God. Some humans just blow my mind, let me tell you. You come up here and agreed with the prompt and then called it a win. I'm literally getting a cramp in my side right now. Oh shit. God, it hurts. Hold on. Ah. Like, what the fuck happens when a Christian comes up here, agrees with the damn topic, and then says they won? W for the Christians. He's like, you didn't get us. We love slavery. Oh my God, I got a cramp for real though. Oh shit. Hold on a second. Damn it. Oh shit. Oh man, that's fucking funny. That made my day right there. All right. I'm sorry. I'm calm now. My cramp's gone. Hey, Fitbit Bag, are you there?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man? It's going well. Thanks for asking. Are you a Christian, sir?
Yes, sir, I'm a Christian.
Awesome, awesome. So, please, for the love of all things sacred, prove the prompt wrong.
Okay, so I want to say that I disagree with the glorifies slavery and injustice. I disagree with condones injustice. You could make an argument that he might condone slavery, but I wouldn't argue that he would glorify it or condones injustice in any shape or form.
Well, he says his laws to be glorified, right?
Yes, his laws is to be glorified, and he gives specific laws so that
His
you
law
don't
says you can own
mistreat.
slaves.
Right, but you know the context of the world back in, like, say, one to around
Is that the
1000
topic?
BC or 500 BC.
He gave you a logical syllogism there.
So back in 1500 BC, when a nation conquered another nation, they were
They
either
have logic
completely
yet?
destroyed or they were sold into slavery or taken as slaves.
So, did they have logic yet?
Yeah, they had logic.
And was slavery in God's law?
It was a way for them to.
Was it permitted in God's law?
It was permitted, yeah.
Was the law to be glorified?
Laws to be glorified.
Okay, so transitive property, slavery is to be glorified.
It's just a coincidence. But even on top of that, like in Romans, it calls Christians a slave to God. So it's glorifying being God's slave.
Oh yeah,
So
you
like
are a worthless
you're
slave.
allowing slavery and being one. Like, to go.
And Luke says you're to call yourself a worthless slave.
Yeah, that too.
Right, but when you say he glorifies and condones slavery, you're almost like the way I'm looking at that statement. I see the argument that you say it's okay to go to your neighbor and to forcibly make him your slave for no reason or another. You don't have to have a reason to
Not a
justify
neighbor.
it. You can just make
You
him a
can do it
slave.
to foreigners, though.
Well, you know, a fellow Israelite can sell themselves into slavery to their neighbor.
No, God actually forbids that. He forbids that in Leviticus 25, but he says you can go to foreign nations and actually just get people that
Well,
you can call them property
there are
for life.
exceptions.
Right.
Like if you owed your neighbor a lot of money
There
and you
are
were broke,
exceptions where you can make your neighbor a lifetime slave.
Oh, yeah, that's an excess. But in Leviticus 25:39, it says, if any who are dependent
Yeah,
on
but
you
you
become so impervious that they sell
could make
themselves to you,
your
you
neighbor
shall
a
not
permanent
make them
slave.
serve as a slave. But yeah, in Exodus 21, it definitely says you can. Well, yeah, same thing. But
we'll have to do more research on that because I remember reading passages where it describes what to do with your fellow Israelites that are in servitude during the year of Jubilee, where you free them and you forgive them all of their debts.
Yeah, that's what he was just reading to you. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
what he was reading to you. Leviticus 25. But that same thing is discussed in Exodus 21. And it says that there is a way for you to make that indentured servant Hebrew brother a lifetime chattel slave. Right? If you give him a wife or children, if you give him a wife and they have children, the children and the wife stay with the master when the slave's term is up. So when he's to go free, he can either go free alone or say that he loves his wife and his family and his master and gets an awl driven through his ear and he becomes a lifetime slave.
Do you think the same person under the nation of Israel, when it came to the time of the year of Jubilee, he would not be freed? He'd remain a slave.
Yeah, I do think that.
Okay.
His status changes as a citizen. Right? Jubilee was
yeah,
for
if you get your ear
full
pierced.
citizens.
Okay, I have to do a little more research on that part because I don't know the specifics of that. Because I always assumed that under the laws, God was dealing with the people that were evil, including his own people. Like they may have been the chosen people, but there's many times they disobeyed him and outright told Moses that I should just obliterate them and restart with you. Because what he's trying to do is rebuild the world to be better, and he was starting with this one people, but they kept disobeying him over and over again. And in order to deal with the world,
yeah, but disobeying
that
him was stopping and keeping his laws, though. The glorified law. That's why he got so mad at them, because they stopped keeping the law and was sacrificing to other gods and stuff. But that was against the law. He says, if you keep this law, this is what's doing good and right in my sight, and you will live in the land happily, and your children after you, all the days you live on the earth. So,
And
that
what
was
do
the
they have to
glorious
do in order
purpose.
to live in the promised land? Like, what are the things they had to do?
Keep the law.
Right. And
That's it.
if you're dealing with
You have to stone disobedient children, and you have to set, like the daughter of a priest, if she's sexually promiscuous, you have to set her on fire, stuff like that. Take slaves.
And keep the Sabbath.
I'm not going to comment on those because I honestly don't know about those specifics. So I'm not going to argue
I'm
for or
curious
against
what
it.
you're asking though when you ask that question. Because like, if the answer is keep the law, right? But are you looking for specifics? Because there's over 600.
Well, if we're staying on the topic of slavery and condones injustice, specifically on slavery, if Israel wanted to occupy the Promised Land and wanted to keep God's law, but the enemy nations or enemy tribes in that area kept attacking them or antagonizing them or trying to drive them away from God
Defending themselves?
or defending themselves, there's times where they both attacked and they were attacked, but to nations that they were ordered to attack and destroy because they were worshiping false idols and sacrificing children to false gods. What do you think should happen to the people after they conquer them?
Go about your business, rebuild your life.
So you're dealing with the people that sacrifice children to false idols, and you think after
Well,
they had
hold on.
conquered them,
God wasn't mad they were sacrificing children to idols. He was mad they were sacrificing children to idols and not to him.
Not to him. Like
God
what's bad
never
about that?
condones child
Yes, he does.
sacrifices.
What's bad about that? The child sacrifice, or that it's two idols?
Both.
I
Both can
don't-
be bad
I don't-
things.
I don't think so. At least I don't think God had a problem with it, right? Because He did it. He gave them those laws. He says so in Ezekiel that He gave them the laws, and that He caused them to He defiled them through their gifts of offering up their firstborn through the fire, right, as a fiery burnt offering. He did that in order to horrify them, right? So, I mean, I guess you could say He thinks it's bad, but He doesn't think it's so bad that He wouldn't do it Himself. Right? He did it kind of as punishment for their
Right.
disobedience.
Yeah, there's a law in Exodus that says you cannot sacrifice to other gods. So no matter what it is. So either way, that was breaking the law, even if it was sacrificing corn to Baal.
But your argument
But,
is that Israelites do that anyway. So why am I? Your argument is they do that. That God said it was okay for the
Yeah,
Israelites.
God
to do that.
ordered them.
and
God
there
ordered
are-
them to do it.
He ordered the Israelites to sacrifice their children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they try to walk it back in
can you give
Ezekiel
me-
chapter
can you-
20.
I'm
Ezekiel
actually I
undoes
can
a
put
lot
these
of
on the
what God
screen.
does.
I got a whole slideshow on this one.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know that, like, historical artifacts have been found with child urns dedicated to Yahweh.
Oh, his teacup. I'll let him get back in a second. But
Like, that's actual history, not just Bible stuff.
you're real quiet sometimes, Mac. I can barely hear you
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. I got this headset on. I'm switching to my big boy mic.
Oh. And Fitbit, you are teacupped if you didn't notice. Oh, there you go. So
were you able to
I
hear
got this
anything
on
I
the
said?
screen, right? No, you were teacupped the whole time. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. So, he mentioned something about finding child urns and finding signs of child sacrifice in the land. Is that correct? I just wanted to
so.
address that because that's what I heard.
Oh, maybe yeah.
Well, I want to say to in
Or we
response to
didn't say
that.
anything about an urn, if that's what you meant.
Well, I heard something
I
about
did.
they have.
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
How
probably
do you
one of the
know
times we
during
couldn't
that
hear you.
time that they weren't worshiping a different god that God despised? Because it says
Well,
in the
because
Bible
it was-
itself. Because what?
Because the urns had inscriptions on them dedicating it to Yahweh.
Yeah,
Do you
there's
know what
archaeological
happened?
evidence of that.
Do you know what happened after Solomon passed away and the new kings started taking over? What happened to the practices of the people. Like they started condoning child sacrifice, and they even built 2 golden calves to help condone it.
After Solomon died?
Yeah.
Yeah, after Solomon died. I can't remember which king instituted it, but he built 2 golden calves, and then he said it was okay to sacrifice your children. But God never told him to do that. And so that's why God said that his nations turn into evil, and that they're slowly being decrepit like the nations around them.
Well, here you go. I got it on the screen right here. It says, "The Lord said to Moses, consecrate to me all the firstborn, whatever is the first to open the womb among the Israelites of human beings and animals is mine." Does that sound a little suspect there?
To consecrate the firstborn? Is that what you're...
Yeah, consecrated it to God. You have to give it to him.
Well, if you give something to God, does
And
that mean
then
necessarily you sacrifice it?
Does it?
If I was told to consecrate something, I wouldn't say it was sacrificing. I would say, like, you are giving glory to God, and this is your child.
Wait a minute. Do you know what
Now,
consecrating means?
maybe I don't. I've always thought it meant to glorify something, not to sacrifice something.
Consecrate means to set aside for a holy purpose. And it uses it in different contexts, but sacrifices are always the same thing. Sacrifices are consecrated to God. They're set aside for the holy purpose of giving it to God, right?
Would you say a Levite priest is consecrated because they were set aside to be
Yeah, humans count. It does that with humans too. It even calls the Medes the consecrated ones in Isaiah 13.
Okay. But you're saying in this context, he's saying to sacrifice your firstborn.
Absolutely. And here's another verse right here. "The firstborn of your sons you shall give to me. You shall do the same with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall remain with its mother, and on the 8th day you shall give it to me." Sounds a little more suspect, right?
Yeah, and this is in Exodus
Saying to
1,
do
2.
the same thing with the firstborn of a son as it is with an ox and a sheep after 7 days, right?
Yeah, and this is Exodus 29?
That's Exodus 22.
22, okay. Well, you have it circled, and there's a 29 next to it, and so that's what got me confused.
That's the verse, yeah.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
22, 29.
And here's how we know that this is definitely talking about sacrifice when it says that, when it's talking about the ox and the sheep. And this is from Leviticus 22. It says, "When an ox or a sheep or a goat is born, it shall remain 7 days with its mother, and from the 8th day on it shall be acceptable as the Lord's offering by fire." So it's literally talking about the same thing. 7th day and on the 8th, you give it to me as a...
That's a great tie. I've never seen that.
Oh, I've got a bunch of them.
Yeah,
You must
that's
not have been
good.
here for one of my human sacrifice bills yet.
No, I guess not. God, I've never seen that tie into, like, because it says in Exodus, like, do the same, right? But it doesn't specifically say what the same is, but this does. That's great.
Absolutely. And it gets better. There's even more.
Yeah, I've never...
Hold on a second.
And see, I've read most of the Old Testament, but I'm not going to say I'm a scholar because I've only done it once, and you can't really get every verse down by reading through it once. But I'll have to do research on that specifically to see, because sometimes things are taken into different contexts or different meanings depending on how it was translated or how it was put out during that specific time in the Bible. Because if I was to assume before giving the context, I would think you're talking about the Levitical line and that the men of the Levitical line were given to God to worship him when they came of age.
And guess what? Guess what they replaced?
What did they replace?
Says, the Lord said to Moses, "Take the Levites in place of all the firstborn of Israel, and all the livestock in the Levites in place of their livestock. The Levites are to be mine. I am the Lord. To redeem the 273." So you notice it's talking about firstborn again? It's trading the Levites for the firstborn. They're substitutes. And this is what redeeming is. It says to redeem the 273 firstborn Israelites who exceed the number of the Levites, then collect 5 shekels each So this is buying back the firstborn. And when firstborns are consecrated, what you redeem, like in Exodus 13, is you redeem the consecrated thing. So you can buy it back from God, basically. That's the same thing that's happening here. But the Levites are literally replacing the firstborn. It says the same thing right here. Where we at? I hereby take the Levites from among the Israelites as substitutes for all the firstborn that open the womb among the Israelites. This is undeniable that that's what this is talking about. God consecrated the firstborn to himself, the firstborn of Israel. And I think after
But that
seeing
just
all
sounds
this,
like to me that he took the firstborns as his priests and religious leaders, and then when the Levites
no,
came
no,
into
no.
it,
That don't make
chosen.
any sense because it says to do the same thing with your ox and with your sheep. You don't make ox and sheep's priests.
Right? How did the priests eat? They have to have food, and so you're supposed to
People
give
tithe.
them right, and that's part of the tithe right there. It's describing how you do it.
Did they eat children?
Right.
The firstborns were given to be worshipers and priests of God, and then the oxen were given to feed them and to be given as sacrifices.
Well, it says you must do the same. That's not the same.
7 days. On the 8th, it's an offering by fire.
I mean, he tells you,
here,
like,
we
this
didn't
is
finish this. This says the Levites shall be mine, for all the firstborn are mine. When I killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I consecrated for my own all the firstborn in Israel, both human and animal. They shall be mine.
Right, he set them aside and made them holy. That's what consecrate means. That doesn't mean he killed them. So
Is
you
that-
see how it
is that
says
what it
he killed.
means?
He says he killed the firstborn of the land of Egypt, but then he says I consecrate my own, meaning he set them aside and made them holy. Because I just looked up consecrate too, and it doesn't mean you sacrifice. If you meant
Why would that
sacrifice, you would have put
horrify them?
sacrifice in that passage, huh?
Why would that horrify them?
Because as a firstborn, you are no longer given part of your free will. It's now given to God.
That would
in His glory.
horrify people.
So when you offer your gifts and make your children pass through the fire, you defile yourselves with all the idols to this day.
So
this is clearly talking about children passing through the fire, isn't it?
Oh, you got Ezekiel.
Yeah, this is Ezekiel where they try to walk it back. Right, but at verse
Yeah,
26.
Ezekiel's. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just real quick on this one. Like verse 25 and 26 says, like, I gave them these laws by which they could not live, and statutes they couldn't, laws that were unjust and statutes that they could not have life, right? So they couldn't live by these laws that he gave them.
Gave them statute that they were not good and ordinance by that good not. When I read 25, I read that as he gave them laws and orders, but they couldn't follow them, and then instead they followed their own way. Like if God, in God's omniscience, so he gave them laws that were justified and holy, but then they disobeyed him, and because they disobeyed him, he had premonition, like you are going to disobey these statutes, and you're not going to
but
be
he
able to
says
live by
he
them.
gave them statutes by which they could not live. He knew they couldn't keep them. He's saying he defiled them through their very gifts and their offering up of their firstborn. So what's actually happening here is that in Exodus, God is setting aside the firstborn as a child sacrifice. And Ezekiel here is acknowledging this. He's saying that is absolutely what God ordered. But he is saying that God did it because he was mad. He's saying he did it to defile them, is the reason he made them pass their children to the fire. They're trying to move away from this over time in the text, because at some point they decided they didn't like burning their firstborn children, so they're trying to get away from it.
Okay,
but that's absolutely what's happening here, and there is mass human sacrifice in the Bible, and we got that right here in Deuteronomy 13. It says, if the charge is established that such an abhorrent thing has been done among you, you shall put the inhabitants of that town to the sword, utterly destroying it and everything in it, even putting its livestock to the sword. All of its spoil you shall gather into its public square, then burn the town and all its spoil with fire as a whole burnt offering to the Lord your God. So, I mean, this is literally just a mass human sacrifice to Yahweh here. You burn everything. The people, the animals, the town, and all that. And this is called haram in Hebrew.
As you put the inhabitants of the town to the sword, and then you take the spoils of the town and gather it, and then you burn it as an offering. So after you've killed everybody, take all the goods that are in the town, put it in the center, and then offer it to God.
Yep.
Not he takes the people after they kills them, put them in the town square, and then burn them to God.
Nope, it's all of it. It's everything. And here's how I know it. In Hebrew, it says haram. This is what it's talking about right here. And it says, as used in the Tanakh, means something given over to the Lord or under a ban, and sometimes refers to things or persons to be utterly destroyed. So anytime something is haram, it is consecrated to the Lord, quite literally. And it says down here, it is stuff that you give to God. It is consecrated to the Lord, including humans. And let me adjust that so you can see the screen better. So when this got translated out of the Hebrew and into the Greek Septuagint and into the Latin versions, look at the words that got translated back in the day. Devotio in Latin was used for a term for a human sacrifice. And this is what it's talking about in Deuteronomy 13. It says into Greek is anathema, which was a sacrifice to the gods. So when it says haram, it is talking about a sacrifice to the gods, humans included. And here,
okay, and which passage is that again?
That's just talking about the haram in the Hebrew. That's not a passage.
But you're referencing that word to a certain passage being used.
Oh, it's all over. It's used a ton of times in the Old Testament, but I was talking about it in Deuteronomy 13 because it's explicitly tied to the whole burnt offering right there. And then this is not it. Hold on a second. Where's it at here? Here we go, I think. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is the actual law about haram. So nothing that a person owns that has been devoted to destruction. The word, if you read this in Hebrew, it would be haram right there. Nothing that has been haram or devoted to or whatever. Destruction for the Lord, be it human or animal or inherited landholding, may be sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing is most holy to the Lord. No human beings who have been devoted to destruction can be ransomed. They shall be put to death. So anytime it mentions that, humans are absolutely included in that sacrifice. So there's just a ton of mass human sacrifices to God in the Bible. And this is the actual law for that. This is saying you cannot redeem them. That means you can't buy them back. Once they've been consecrated to God, that's it.
Okay.
And here, just for good measure, is the part about it. This is from Sepharia. This is the actual Tanakh here. And this has got it in the actual Hebrew and everything. And this will read, but of all that anyone's owns, be it human or animal or landholding, nothing that has been prescribed for God may be sold or redeemed. Every prescribed thing, that's haram there, is totally consecrated to God. And that's the word haram right there. It starts with that yod. And that's a het. It kind of sounds like an H right there, and then a resh in the M. That's haram right there.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I mean,
I've just never heard consecrated being used as a form of sacrifice before. That's just news to me.
Well, that's not quite what I meant. Consecrated just means set aside for a holy purpose. So haram is setting things, including humans, aside for that purpose. That's why humans can be consecrated, but also land and animals can be consecrated. And sometimes consecrated just means, like in Isaiah 13, like he consecrates the Median army. He says they are his consecrated ones that he commands and are going to execute his anger. So consecrate doesn't necessarily mean sacrifice itself. It just
when you
means
used
set
the word
aside for a holy
consecrated
purpose.
earlier, you said that was like proving that they had child sacrifices. And now you're saying that no, it just means they set it aside. So which is it?
No, I mean, I'm saying consecrated aids in saying it was set aside for that holy purpose.
Yeah, they're not exclusive.
Yeah, and when haram comes into play, it is consecrated to God and cannot be redeemed. That's what this is about.
So you're saying consecrated could be used both to set aside something for a purpose for God, either in sacrifice or in another way, shape, or form.
Yeah, all it means is set aside for a holy purpose. It doesn't mean it was sacrificed. But I'm saying if he's consecrating children for the purpose of X that involves a sacrifice given the firstborn, then yeah, it's totally being put into the context that the firstborn is consecrated to God as a sacrifice. Is what I mean by that.
Okay. Well, I have to do a little more research on that, because when you go over some of those passages, like when he replaced the consecrated ones with the Levites, it sounds to me like he had consecrated firstborns that were his priesthood at the time, and then he traded them out for the Levites once they were chosen under Moses' brothers. Family.
That would make sense if you wasn't supposed to do the same with your ox and with your sheep. You can't say an ox and a sheep became a priest.
Well, I also
so when God says, give this child to me, the same as with the ox and the sheep, it can't be talking about that it was a priesthood.
Right, but when you give something to God, when you give like an animal sacrifice, that's to God. But when you give a Levite to God, he, as a priest, that's the same thing. You're giving something to God to be used.
Yeah, but check these out. Here, I got some more stuff for the screen here. Shit, that's not what that was.
Have you gotten into...
Well, it is, but you can't say it as good. But anyway, look at this. The only time that these words in Hebrew, this right here, it is most holy. The only time that this phrase right here is uttered is in regards to the offerings by fire, right? The burnt offering. It is most holy, offerings by fire. Speak back to honey. Offerings by fire, it is most holy. This is just a whole bunch of examples of that.
Yeah, but the previous passage talks about, is that leaven bread?
Hold on, I ain't done yet.
Okay.
Burnt offering is to be slaughtered. It is most holy. But see how that most holy is coming up every single time that it talks about a burnt offering? There is one sole
Well, that
exception.
doesn't mean that burnt offerings are the only thing that it's holy. It's just saying in that
I'm saying the
specific
only
circumstance.
time that he uses that term, it is most holy, is to refer to an offering by fire. That's what I'm saying.
So there's no other
Except
passage
for
in the
one.
Bible that describes something as most holy without it being at the same time sacrificed.
The only time that those words appear that is not directly linked to a burnt offering, it says the burnt offering is most holy. Burnt offering, most holy. Offering by fire, most holy, right? The only time that that phrase is uttered in the entire Old Testament, when it's not directly linked to offering by fire, is right here, and we already read it. Nothing that a person owns that has been devoted to destruction for the Lord, be it human or animal or inherited landholding, may be sold or redeemed. Every devoted thing is most holy to the Lord. That's the one and only time you will ever see most holy in regards to something that's not seemingly talking about a sacrifice. But this is talking about a sacrifice.
Yeah, I just did a search in Bible Gateway for that expression, that term. It is most holy. And yeah, every time it is said, it's talking about something being burnt. Like it could be a goat, it could be a sheep, it could be a person. It's talking about something being burned and offered up. That's wild.
I got Dr. Josh to check that for me. Dr. Josh actually researched that for me.
That's interesting, yeah. Have you gotten into Numbers 31?
Kinda.
Okay. Because, like, that's child sacrifice, too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because they had 32,000 girls, and 354 of them were offered up as a heave offering, which, if you know what a heave offering it is, that is a deadly sacrifice. That is, like, the heave is like you offer it up, like physically lift, right? But then it is also they are killed as part of that sacrifice.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And guess there, listen to this. When we go back to refer back to Deuteronomy 13, this is from Saul Olyan. He's a Hebrew Bible scholar. And this will only take a second, but it says, the sacrificial aspects of mass eradication are usually implicit. What is to be eradicated is set apart as sanctified possession of Yahweh and is slaughtered and or burned like animal and human offerings. In rare instances, the sacrificial features of mass eradication are explicit, as in the case of the burnt spoil of Deuteronomy 13:17. So that's literally a Hebrew Bible scholar agreeing with me. And he's saying it is directly linked. This right here, this haram, is directly linked to a mass burnt offering. And here, most holy, like That is crazy, ain't it?
Yeah. When you read in that context, it is crazy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
have
wild,
to. I'm gonna
man.
write that down too. I try to write all these passages down, but I'm gonna try and do more research. I appreciate your guys' time.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
came in here to talk and gain understanding, and I think you guys giving me something to learn or to work on. And I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, anytime,
Man, what
man.
a crazy
We appreciate you being a
contrast
cool
to-
guest.
So what a crazy
Yeah, that
contrast to
previous,
Bob.
the previous guest, he came on very zealot. I like that.
Yeah.
He's
what
not.
I like about what I like about him is what he lacks in intelligence, he makes up for in arrogance.
Well, I
He's
believe
so cocky and so ill-informed.
when he's coming into this debate like that, he's trying to defend his faith, but at the same time, he's driving people away from it. And you're supposed to come into something. If you're a true Christian, you come into something to try and make peace and to show people like the good side of God. But all he's showing is arrogance and almost like rudeness.
Yeah,
and
not
when
a
you
lot of
do
fruit.
that, you drive. Yeah, there's no fruit there. And God says to be fruitful, not to have bad
Says you'll
fruit.
know them by their fruit.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys' time. You have a good day.
No problem, man. You were really cool to talk to. Thanks for being cool. It's a breath of fresh air, like Max.
Well, I appreciate getting to talk to you too and learn a few things. You have a good one.
All right,
Anytime, my man. Anytime. Well, all right. Well, that's cool. Let's see who we got. I am going to shut the live down. So let's go. Is Mama Bash still live, Mac? Do you know?
I think they are. I came over here because they were full.
Oh, right. You got to talk at somebody. I hear you.
I got.
Oh,
I got
yeah,
stuff
she's
I gotta
still
get.
live. I
Yeah, there's
finally
stuff
got it.
freaking. It's got 480
Cool,
people
cool.
in there.
Shit. All right, y'all. Well, let's go raid Mama Bash, and we're going to bring it to a close here. Fuck Trump, fuck MAGA, fuck slavery, fuck Christian nationalism, but happy Pride Month. Outside of that, peace in the Middle East, all that
Yeah,
good
5
shit.
for 5 on that.
Mac, always a pleasure, my man.
Same.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, let's go
Catch
raid
you next
Mama
time.
Bash, y'all. Oh, yeah.